right, hello, good evening, and welcome back into another episode of America's Hometown Horror. I am so happy to be back. My name is Mike. I am your host, and if you are new to this show, you probably don't know the difference in our sound quality over the last couple of weeks, but we certainly do, and that's all courtesy of our buddy Shaun at Skywheel Media, who makes our show sound great and did a great job cutting up and making our live show sound great. So if you have a podcast that you're looking to take to the next level in terms of audio quality, get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with Shaun at Skywheel Media. And if you're interested, here's where you can find us online. First place is our website, which is ahpod.com. It's ahhpod.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever it is now, and Instagram. Just search for America's Hometown Horror, and you shall find us. You can also drop us a line directly at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. All right. Well, dear listener, hope you had a great spooky season. I know that we did. We certainly did. We have a lot to get to, and that's kind of the objective here tonight, is kind of recap what was a crazy October for us. We all had a blast, I think. And, of course, not doing this alone. I am joined by all three of my fellow co-hosts. Finally, it's been quite a while since all of us have been in studio together and not in front of a live studio audience right at Nickelodeon Studios at Universal Studios, Florida. I'm joined by Andrew, Matt, and Kat. Lady, gentlemen, hello, good evening. Look at Kat rolling in, fashionably late. Hello, everybody.
I'm not late, I'm on time.
Rolling, stumbling, you made
I
the
am
roll
on
call.
time.
Technically, literally right on time.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
what's happening?
Hello.
Guys.
Hello.
Wow, what an October.
Wow.
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 I mean, we're sitting here on November 7th, and, we're like almost literally a week removed from October. What a crazy, crazy month it was.
It was a blur.
It feels like, technically, I think our October
was crazy.
Yeah, yours was definitely crazy, in addition
Yeah.
to the other stuff that we had to do. I mean, shit, we started going to haunted attractions the last 2 weeks in September.
Started doing trivia.
Right, Matt and I did not one, not two, but 3 horror trivias throughout the month at Mayflower Brewing Company.
How many questions did we have to think of?
I think we
50
probably
probably?
came up with close to 150 questions
more.
between
Yeah.
3.
55.
Because the first two
55.
sessions were 5 rounds.
56, 34.
Yeah,
55 burgers, 55
So 112 and 34 is
146.
146.
yeah. So, oh my
Off
God,
the top of
a
our
lot of
head.
questions.
Dumbass little
Yeah, and
heads.
we didn't rely on anything for those questions. Those came out of our squashes, my friend, which was pretty
Yeah.
good, I have to say, if I do say so ourselves. We had a great turnout at both trivias, but leading up to Haunts and Hops, and then at Haunts and Hops, we had a really good participation in the trivia. That was a lot of fun. Got to do Spooky World, got to do Barrett's Haunted Mansion, got to do a bunch of spooky stuff throughout October. But guys, I'd be remiss if I did not mention what was the cherry on the October Sunday, which was the first annual Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention, which is at Mayflower.
Saturday, not a Sunday.
Saturday, what did I say?
Well,
Sunday?
Sunday, like the cherry on top, like
Of the Sunday.
Oh,
Sunday.
well, it was a
Of the ice
Saturday.
cream sundae.
yeah,
Just
but that's
saying.
not what he
The
was
ice cream
talking about.
Saturday.
He was talking about
The ice cream
the
Saturday.
ice cream Sunday of
Saturday.
October. It was,
Thank you.
Saturday.
Thank you for the clarification, Kat. Appreciate
Same.
that. Yeah, but the icing on the
Saturday.
cake for October, I think, was the first annual Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention, which was just an absolute blast. I feel like it went by like that, and it was just over with. But I mean, guys, what a day! What did we think of the event? I mean, it was just so much
It was
fun
awesome.
from start to
It was
finish. Right?
fun.
It was a blast,
It was a lot
yeah.
of work, but it was fun.
well put
I
together.
feel like I always had somewhere I had to be and doing something.
well, that's because you
Yeah.
did have somewhere you had to be.
Yeah, I feel like that's why, like
I'm in like no pictures.
yeah, right. Seriously, I feel like I'm in.
We didn't take a picture of the 4 of us.
Yeah, I know.
It was
It's
just
I,
No,
like,
there's a picture of us doing the
Shaun- Shaun
podcast.
did.
Yeah,
Shaun
that,
did
well,
take that.
we didn't take that. We should have had somebody
We
take
should
some
have taken a
pictures of
group
us doing a
picture. I don't know
podcast.
why
Like we
we
didn't
didn't
do
do
that. But I mean, it was just from start to finish. It was a lot of fun, and obviously a huge thank you to so many people. But Obviously, Andy in Inebriart,
Mhm.
who was, the driving force behind this whole thing and kind of brought us in to help him plan it. But, he was,
Mayflower Brewing. of
yeah,
course.
A1 in the planning phase here. Everybody at Mayflower Brewing was fantastic throughout the entire event. All the employees were super into it, having a lot of fun, super helpful. Anyone that volunteered, you were all great. All the vendors, our 2 celebrity guests who, I got to say, having had FaceTime with both of them quite extensively, all lovely people.
Mhm. Yeah, you
Leon-
have to drive in a car.
yeah, right. Like, so the morning of the con, I picked them all up at the John Carver Inn, drove them over to Mayflower for the event. We had Leonora Shelfo, who played the cheerleader in Scream, and we had Matthew G. Taylor, who is a Canadian stuntman, most famous for playing Nemesis in one of the Resident Evil movies. He was also in Boondock Saints 2, Resident Evil Apocalypse.
They were both awesome.
Yeah,
That's the best Resident Evil, by the way.
yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Not even close.
I'm not just saying that because
No.
he was in it. It is.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
many of the Resident Evils. I think I've seen like one.
I feel like that's
One is good.
one of the few that I have seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
But both lovely people, super nice, awesome to hang out with throughout the day, super friendly. Got to do panels with both of them, with Andy, just talking to them throughout the day. And just, it's just, hey, celebrities are people too, but they were all super down to
Yeah,
earth.
they're
And it was
great.
just
You
a
got to
refreshing
grab
experience.
them coffee.
I
too.
did. That
nice.
was the biggest moment of the day where they were like, yeah, here you go, bitch.
How do you take your
That was
I-
the cherry on top of the Saturday of
the celebrity
Wednesday.
experience. Yeah, just like, hey,
Wednesday.
hey, do you mind grabbing us some coffee? I was like, you know what? I can do that for you. He made the trip from Canada,
Fucking
and from
Dunkin'
Austin,
instead?
Texas. You want some dunks? Sure, I'll hook you up.
There's no Tim Hortons, so
Do they
Yeah.
like Dunkin' Donuts?
I heard no complaints. So yeah, I don't know if it was. I think Matt Taylor and his wife might have been their first Dunkin' Donuts experience. Leonora, I know, has been in the Northeast pretty frequently, so I think she's had dunks before, but I didn't hear any complaints. Neither one of them, or none of them, were really particularly picky about their coffee order. So
That's good.
But all the vendors were great. We had an exclusive hot sauce from our buddy Mike Wisdom over at Wisdom Ferments, which came out great. Sam Hain sauce, made some wings with that the other day. That was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
I think
they
I
were
made
so
my
good.
tummy
Really, really good. Well, good news is,
grumbly in my bum.
Tummy grumbling.
if you were not able to attend Haunts and Hops and you want a bottle of that exclusive hot sauce, Wisdom Ferments does still have some left. Get in touch with us. We can put you in touch with him to get you a bottle of that stuff.
Help us help you help him.
But guys, I mean, I feel like
People helping people. It's beautiful.
it's people helping people. I feel like I buried the lead here is that we not only did the first annual Haunts and Hops HorrorCon, but we had our first ever live show.
Yes.
Yeah,
At
we
Haunts
did
and
do a
Hops.
live show.
Guys, did you have a good time?
That was a lot of fun.
It was
That was
so
awesome.
much
That was
fun.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had a blast. It was nerve wracking at first, but once we got going, it was.
Well, once we solidified Kat's questions, everyone was fine.
I think
It
so.
was just
Yeah,
the whole
Cat's question.
Kat, come up with your damn questions.
as
Like,
someone
that
who,
was-
as someone who regularly performs in front of people, it was different, obviously, but it was very enjoyable. I had a lot of fun doing that. So I would.
And we had a good turnout for that.
Yeah, we
too.
had a
There was
good
a good
crowd
amount of
for it.
people sitting there.
I have
It was
to
like
say-
an empty room.
So my day was pretty much from start to finish. Matt and I did trivia. Then we had our live show, and we were like the not the headliner, but the act before the headliner
We
in
were
terms
the
of
first-
podcasts.
Yeah, we were the first podcast.
But
We were the
having
setup
been
man.
in our live
You're
podcast
right, man.
as a member of both panels and also attending the other live podcasts that we had, I can say without bragging that we did have the biggest crowd of the day, which is a testament to our friends, the people that listen to us locally. That was honestly like,
And
that made me the
followers.
happiest, I think, out of anything
Yeah,
for that
it was
whole thing,
cool.
because there was a possibility that we would have been podcasting in a room with, a couple of people in there and just us, which would have been fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that we actually had like a good number
Pretty
of people
decent
in
amount,
there,
yeah.
like hanging out, like throwing questions at
Yeah.
us, like reacting to stuff, laughing, giving us applause.
Yeah, that was
that got me going. I was
my
really,
goal was
really
to just
happy.
make Fish laugh.
Yes.
He's hard. It's
He
hard
is,
to make.
yeah.
I
He's very
podcasted with
straight.
him a few
He's a
times,
straight man.
Yeah.
and it's hard to make him laugh. And I think I got him like once or twice, and I was
Okay.
like, I got Fish.
Yeah, there you go. And obviously, I'm so glad you brought that up, because he flew so far under the radar with the amount of stuff that he did
Fish
that
had
day.
so
He
much
was
He
awesome
crushed it.
upstairs.
He's always the
Yeah,
best,
dude.
dude.
He's great.
You know, he probably loved being up there alone too.
Yeah,
He's
right.
probably, this is awesome.
Just chilling,
Away
just
from
doing his
everything.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
He does a
getting
good job. Shout out Fish.
Yeah, Fish,
Yeah,
you're the man,
love
buddy.
you, Fish.
Yeah, thanks for setting everything up there. But the live show went great. The whole thing was great, and I have to say, too, I don't think I've had as good of a time at New World Tavern as I had at the after party
a lot of fun.
in quite a while.
That was awesome.
That was so much fun.
Andrew, thoughts?
Dude, huge.
Andrew, thoughts?
By the way,
Andrew, thoughts on the after party?
huge shout out to Bayside High, who fucking ripped it up.
Yeah.
They were fantastic.
They were absolutely on point.
Oh, it was awesome.
All night.
I think, honestly,
that entire set was fucking sick.
I want to go see them every time they play at New
They're
World.
a lot of fun, dude.
Yeah, that's the first time I had ever seen them, and they were phenomenal.
I saw them 2 or 3 weeks before that too. They played at New World, and they were back again, and they were better this time than the other time. They're always good, but this time, I like pulled Nikki aside, and like me and Nikki worked at Speedwell together for years. Like we're good friends. I pulled her aside. I'm like, listen, I want you to know that you guys are seriously one of the top acts in this area right now. Like you guys crush the fuck.
Oh yeah. Everyone was having everyone was dancing.
Dude, they were feeling it. They were absolutely just playing hits. Everybody was rocking the fuck out. Everyone was rocking costumes. Dude, she has a great voice. They can all play instruments. Holy shit, they sounded good. They played some unbelievable like some of the songs they played. I was like, wow.
It's so cool how they take the songs that they play like pop songs and they make them like fucking heavy metal songs.
Yeah,
they're awesome. Yeah,
awesome. And Leonora even like shouted out on her Instagram, I think, being like, "Oh, we had a great time. Like the band was amazing. She was jamming out to that."
Gonna say Leonora had herself a time. I felt bad. I felt bad that she had to get up and get on a flight. She had to be at the airport at 7 a.m. the next day. So yikes.
We were all there till
good for her.
At least 12.
Yeah.
8:30.
Yeah, we were there till like last call.
We were there till last call, and that was.
You guys stay that long, huh?
Yeah, we were there till last call.
I had an
How long did you stay, Andrew?
I was like, I'm gonna take it easy tonight. I'm gonna go home early.
Oh yeah, you took it easy.
That's exactly what it was.
Rule number one: don't skip.
Don't
dinner.
skip. Yeah, don't skip.
Don't skip.
Yeah, I had a pit stop before I went there with Justin and Audra.
Shout out to them too, because they were at the live. They were at our live podcast. They were awesome.
Speedwell, and we got some chicken, and I was ready to go after that. I think I only drank like 3 or 4 beers at New World. For the rest of the night. I maintained like a very comfortable vibe.
I feel like that was the whole thing of the day.
I was
like drinking leisure modes, just kind of coasting through the day.
You were the darkest guy in the world.
Well,
Well, I should have got dinner with you guys.
Skip dinner.
I mean,
I
shit.
was like, hey, I'm gonna go to Kogi get some fries. You're like, fuck your Kogi fries. I'm like, all right.
If there was anybody else at that event that deserved to get drunk after the event was done, other than Andy Driscoll from Inebriart, it was probably us. So you took advantage of that.
I got drunk enough for all of us.
Yeah, you did.
You know what, guys?
I mean, in fairness, I did wake up the next morning because we had a babysitter that night. Bridget was with my parents, so we didn't have a child that night. So we were like, let's go. And I woke up the next morning. I was like, how did we get home last night? She was like, oh, an Uber. I was like, oh, yes.
How we got home. Yeah, I was the one coherent person.
Yes, that I remembered once you told me.
Which is crazy.
I was like, what did I do Sunday after? I was like,
nothing. Literally nothing.
Yeah.
Made a bunch of food and sat on the couch.
I had a bunch of shit football, to do.
Like, she's like, you're going to come over for fantasy?
Come over so I can rub my paper beak in your face. Like,
and then I beat you.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm in dead last in that league.
That's all right. You and I
you're getting bad luck. Everyone
is awful,
against
dude. It's the worst fantasy team I've ever had.
It was me last year. I had the worst matchups. It was awful. I hated it. Yeah.
Well, I guess in summation, the event was awesome. I think we all had a blast at it, correct?
Yeah.
And like there were so many vendors. Like I feel like people, like even our friends that came, they were just like, wow, there's like so much more than just like you guys podcasting or just like some weird spooky things. Like there were a ton of vendors with a ton of different things.
Cool stuff.
There was hot sauces, there were books, there were like crafts, there were different other podcasts, there were crafts. Like
live music.
There was live music.
Played some live music.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys did trivia. There was a costume contest. There was a tattoo contest.
Yep.
Like Wolf Pizza was there for part of the time until after we podcasted. There's witch dancing.
Well,
like, there was, but
no thanks to the witch dancers because they were awful.
There were so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to setting my speaker up Friday to see if it still works.
Yeah, right. Anyway, that's a different story for a different podcast.
But it was a very eclectic mix of people that were like all like together in one thing, and everyone was kind of at one point like cruising around just to see what everyone else was doing, which I feel like was cool because everyone's like, "Wow, you have this, you have that." Like even like
I just knew every like 25 minutes I had to be somewhere doing something.
I know.
So I was like,
you couldn't enjoy it, which
I did that. I like, but I made sure that like those in between times, I kind of like went and talked to people that came that I knew. So
I tried to do the same thing too. Like, it was tough though, because definitely we were all running around quite a bit. And thank you to Kat and Andrew for manning our table for a lot of the day.
That's why I drank so many beers, because I was like, I'm stuck at this fucking table the whole time. I'm like, yeah, how's that candy? And I was drinking beers.
Hammering baby
how many
roots.
candies are in the jar as they're depleted during the day?
What was the final number?
87, 89 was the total, and I think someone was like at 84. I forget who it was.
Yeah. Well, the winner did get his Fright Rags gift card, as did the winner of our trivia contest. They both received those gifts, so congratulations to both of them. And I feel like, to Matt's point, a lot of people kind of appreciated the fact that this was, have you guys ever been to like a larger horror con before?
No.
I really haven't either. So, I mean, I know that those are obviously a little bit more hectic. There's a lot going on. Well, people seem to appreciate that this was a little bit more low key and there was some stuff going on. But if you wanted to just like be casual and hang out, like you could do that too. And I feel like that was
have a wolf pizza.
That point was brought up in spades in honestly like one of the most flattering write-ups that I could have gotten. We could have gotten about this event. Courtesy of Bloody Disgusting.
If I'm not mistaken,
fantastic.
If I'm not mistaken, which I very well could be, I think that kid won the tattoo.
He did.
Yes.
Yeah. So Alex from Bloody Disgusting, he did win the tattoo contest, and he gave us a very nice review that was posted on Bloody Disgusting, which is a national website. It's fucking unbelievable. I'll post the link to this description in our podcast notes for this show if you want to read it. If you didn't see it, it was just. I continue to be amazed by it. And all I can say is that we are very much looking forward to bringing you the first of many sequels to this event next year. And we're already working on it. There's many things in motion. So guess you'll just have to wait until a little bit later on to figure out what's going to go on for Haunts and Hops 2 Electric Boogaloo. We'll see what happens there. Yeah. But also, I feel like I'd be remiss if I did not mention, so this kind of somehow flew under the radar for all of us. It was brought to my attention last week that America's Hometown Horror Podcast is mentioned in the classifieds of the October issue of Fangoria, thanks to Matthew, right?
Yeah, did you accidentally do that?
No, I did it, but it was like when you brought it up, I was like at work, or I was doing something, and I was like, oh, but then I remember like seeing an email because I got like added to all this like exclusive like Fangoria stuff on email, and they sent that, and I was like, oh, you know what? I definitely was like, yeah, hey, we have a podcast. Check it out.
That's so.
If it was the Patriot Ledger, I would.
But I was like, I don't know if that's like the right thing I'm supposed to do. I didn't really know what it was.
It worked.
Yeah,
whatever you did worked. So like. In addition to everything else that we did in October, we were mentioned on Bloody Disgusting and in Fangoria, in print on Fangoria. That's incredible.
So you don't have a collector's edition with
so you wouldn't be in
podcast.
print.
Yep.
You'd be in.
I will.
Do you have that?
I own that.
Yep, I have it.
Frame it. Put it up on the wall.
Yeah, we could.
I will always have it in my possession.
You can still go get a store copy too.
Mike, you can get it tattooed on your arm.
You should get it tattooed on your arm.
Maybe I will. Maybe
on your back and like huge, like enlarge it on your back. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Big thumbs up.
For the big thumbs up.
Guys. So I mean, anything else on Haunts and Hops before we move into everything else that we're going to talk about this episode here?
It was one of those things that it was a lot of fun and it was really enjoyable. But when it was over, I was like, all right.
Thrilled.
Yeah,
same.
Especially because we had such a fun app. But after party was a lot of fun. Yeah. It was like that next day, I was like, and I was also like, we were moving into the house, so I was like, fuck, dude. Like,
I feel like everyone almost gets like little sniffles and stuff because you're like doing so much, and then all of a sudden you're relaxing, and then you're like, oh my god, I might have a little bit of a cold, or oh my god, I might have a little bit of like just like sniffles because I feel like I've been working so hard and now I'm finally like,
I might have like a bloody nose.
Like,
last 3 years.
I might have five bloody noses.
Yeah,
bleed into a bag.
It was an absolute blast. It was a lot of work, and I'm looking forward to next year. That's what I can say.
Yeah,
guys. Anything else? Matt, Kat, Andrew?
Are we going to do Kat's questions part deuce?
I mean, we already can start thinking about what we want to do. And actually, so Andy did bring up the fact, Andy from Inebriart is also going to be running a Comic-Con.
He likes my questions.
He likes your questions.
Oh.
We're going to, Andy is running a Comic-Con in March that potentially may be at Barrel House Z.
Nice.
And he may be looking for live podcasts at that. So who knows? Maybe our second live show will be in March at that.
Springtime for America's hometown horror podcast.
We can do all springtime folk horror.
Beautiful. I love it.
We won't do that song.
Yeah, we're not going to do that song.
That was terrible.
That was
bad.
You want to hear something out of key?
That was bad.
Well, it's definitely out of key. It's just
one key.
Well,
springtime for America's hometown
don't do it again. Don't do it again. A for effort, I suppose.
It's from the producers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
We're aware.
Okay.
He doesn't know that.
I don't know that. Anyway, all right. We're going to talk some news, and then we're going to talk some watch lists. But before we get into news, why don't we pay some bills? We'll be back in 30 seconds or 60 seconds. Here's a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Guys, it's been a long time since we've talked some news, and there has been some news dropping. A lot of stuff, a lot of interesting stuff. Like usually I feel like most weeks when we talk about news stuff, I'm kind of like searching thoroughly for some things. Over the last several weeks, there's been a few things, like several things that we've sent out in the group that I'm like, damn.
Since like last week, I feel like we've all been like, yo,
what the fuck?
Like a week,
okay, first and foremost, from the clouds, there's going to be a sequel to It Follows called They Follow, directed by David Robert Mitchell, who directed the initial movie, and also going to be starring Micah Monroe in the sequel, which I'm in.
He's still alive.
Still
At
alive?
least for the opening scene.
Yep.
I think.
Who knows? But, I mean, I guess It Follows, I think we've talked about this in the numerous times that we've talked about It Follows on this podcast, including It Follows, I think, was the second episode that we ever did. And I know we've talked about potentially going back and re-talking about some of our old stuff that we used to talk about. It Follows was one of those movies that I never necessarily thought needed a sequel, but I'm still kind of excited that, like, it's coming. Yeah. But also in the same sense, like, I still, and this got brought up last year, like on our Smile episode and our end of year episode, I feel like Smile was almost kind of like a quasi-sequel to It Follows.
It was same vibe.
It was like that.
Very similar vibes.
Yeah.
Right?
It Follows sequel might be the sequel we never knew that we really wanted.
I think
because I would never even think to have that as a sequel.
Why wouldn't you think to have that as a sequel? I mean,
it's
obviously,
so good, and why ruin it?
I think it's a perfect standalone movie.
It's a perfect standalone movie, but in the same sense, the thing that it is, whatever it is, keeps going into like other people. So I mean,
it doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. So I mean, a sequel would only be appropriate because
it's got to come back to her.
Like right. So I mean,
it's gonna be like years later.
More story.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like that movie almost kind of was like the beginning of like the Renaissance for like horror movies. I feel like it like mid 2000 teens. What do you call it? Mid
2015.
Yeah, I feel like that's when like horror really started to.
Take off.
Hit it. No, just hit a different.
Well, we hit a lull.
It was such a long lull where it was everything was the same fucking movie.
This was the first 80s, like weird.
Not even that, just like something unique, different, an original story that really.
Yeah.
No,
Sinister was up there too, though.
I agree with Kat. Like when I mentioned this, I think I don't know if it was just to you or if it was in the chat. I don't remember. But or maybe it was even somebody else. But either way, when I saw It Follows in theaters, and when the opening scene happens. And the girl's like running around her street, and then that music kicks in. That like
the best.
Dude, that music is.
I was like immediately. I like sat back in my seat, and I looked at my buddy. I was like, "This movie's gonna fucking rock."
We're witnessing.
And I just like right off the bat, he was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Just this movie's gonna."
Well, the music and the cinematography at the beginning were just like everything about it just felt like it was right.
It just was,
like,
dude.
It gave you like that.
I was like, I had this like. Weight was like lifted off my chest. I was like, "This is going to be a fantastic."
It felt like you were watching like a Neo John Carpenter
sit back
movie.
And like enjoy this, and this is gonna be great.
And it was that movie fucking kicks ass, and that really was. I also agree with you, Andrew. It was kind of like the start of like it was this, then it was The Witch, and then it was Hereditary, and it was Green Room, and it was like all these like really sophisticated, well-made horror movies came out. Yeah,
because it was such a it was like a
Just before that, yeah, you're getting Paranormal Activity, you're getting Conjuring, you're getting Sinister, you're getting Insidious.
It's like, you know, okay, fine. Those are, but like,
there's ghosts in people's houses sometimes, but yeah.
Sometimes you need a different thing. You need like something different, like a palate cleanser. And It Follows, I feel like, was about as different as any horror movie could have been at that time. Like, there was nothing like it. And obviously, I think the thing I remember most fondly out of everything is the soundtrack. The music is fantastic.
Yeah, the music is unbelievable.
By the way, you should have seen the look on people's fucking faces at Haunts and Hops when we asked the question about who actually made the soundtrack for It Follows. And that was multiple choice. And people were looking at us like, dude, are you fucking people
the questions
serious?
we had for the Haunts and Hops trivia were
I didn't get to hear
far and none the hardest
stuck
questions we had.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Yeah, people are probably like, are you fucking assholes?
Pretty much.
I mean,
should have had more layups just because I think you have a different.
No, I don't think so.
We used all our layups already, dude.
Yeah.
But I
didn't know I had to do another trivia until the week before.
I know.
Like, fuck, dude.
I think all things considered, we only had to do 3 rounds for that one. It worked out well. We like literally just made it in an hour. We were like, okay, this is cool.
So in fairness, what we could do for our next live podcast is questions related to listening to the podcast. Because if I'm not mistaken, when we did the first, no, I'm joking. But when we did the first It Follows episode, I already came up with an idea for the sequel.
It Swallows.
It Swallows.
I remember this. I remember this.
That was when you were in your first about first 30 episodes,
stage.
which you were referencing Brazzers in every episode of the podcast, which you call Brazzers.
Yeah.
Yes,
Ryan Brazzers.
Mm-hmm. All right, so they follow. I think we're all excited to potentially see it. I hope it doesn't suck. That's what I'll say.
As long as it's not 2024 follow, we'll be good.
2024.
I'm excited.
I'm
excited for it. Yeah.
More sequel news, guys. Terrifier 3.
Oh,
from Bloody Disgusting, Terrifier 3 will slay Christmas in theaters on October 25th. 2024.
So
first 2 news items. We're getting two very good.
When she goes to bed, let's go see it. Yeah, like
2 very interesting.
Still open, that would have been.
I have Dartmouth now. That's where I'll go.
Dartmouth isn't far.
Yep, I know that movie theater there. Yeah, but 2 very interesting sequels for 2024 in the news items, 2 for 2 here. So I know I sent you guys in the group thread that so Terrifier 2 was re-released in theaters on November 1st. You could see it again. And before that, there was a little teaser trailer that was supposed to be a theater exclusive for Terrifier 3, which set it up as a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was bootlegged and leaked online. I apologize, Damian Leone. I did see it on Reddit. Sent it to you guys. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch when you sent it. I watched when I saw it.
I haven't seen it.
It was shared by like a more legit source on Instagram, so I didn't feel as bad.
Yeah, it's honestly it wasn't anything controversial. It's like literally just it's
he's gonna fucking hack that little girl to pieces probably.
Yeah. It's basically it's a girl walking downstairs on Christmas Eve or Christmas night in the middle of Christmas Eve into Christmas night, walking down expecting to see Santa Claus, and it's Art the Clown in a Santa Claus outfit.
Looks scary as shit.
It looks terrifying. So
that's the one thing that, like, when it comes to like scary faces and makeup, like, dude, Art the Clown is fucking scary looking, dude.
Terrifying.
And his mannerisms are just perfect.
Yeah, and it's just those gnarly fucking teeth. And there was something about the Santa Claus get up to it too with that big smirk, and you're just like,
well, his mouth is almost similar to like Sauron's mouth, like the guy that comes out. Sauron in Lord of the Rings when he comes out and he's just like talking, it's just like the black like bile just dripping from his mouth. It's like, ugh.
It's just well, then you like I don't know if you've ever seen the like original Tales from the Crypt episodes with like the guy, the Christmas one.
Yep,
the Santa Claus.
Yeah,
that guy's.
It's just like some gnarly fucking like hobo guy, but it's just like, dude, this is like
that's one of the most hard.
This movie's gonna kick ass. I'm curious to see if it's going to be as long as Terrifier 2.
It was long.
It was 2.5 hours long.
Very long.
And it was like, long movie.
Very long.
For what it is, that's a long movie.
Certainly is. Very long.
And then the other thing too, I was reading that like he tried. So the first 5 minutes was to be really controversial. He couldn't get any major studio to get past like 5 pages of the screenplay.
So he did his own, right?
Well, good. Yeah, because
exactly. Fuck them.
He's already done such a good job with the first 2. And he was like, I'm just going to fucking do it myself. Like, fuck it. He does all the effects. He writes the thing. He directs it. You know what, dude?
You know who I would rather?
Movies kick fucking ass.
Who knows better? The major studios who spurn out fucking dog shit all the time, or this guy who's thrown out 2 fucking bangers.
Yeah.
And is going to do a third, which I'm glad because it's going to be so much better than if they.
I mean, it's kind of one of the best stories in horror that he continues to pump these movies out and people continue to show interest in them. It's fantastic.
They're so fucking insane.
They're insane. They're insane. Scarier clown, Art the Clown or Pennywise?
Art the Clown.
I think it's by far.
100%.
Yeah, not even close, right? Okay. I'm going to talk about a movie later on tonight that might have some scarier clowns, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But Terrifier 3, Christmas movie in theaters October 25th of 2024.
There's literally a bottle.
Yeah,
opener.
I know.
Speaking of people that write about scary clowns, it sounds like we finally got some news on the fucking Salem's Lot remake about fucking goddamn time.
Honestly, kind of relieved that if this is all it's going to be at this point. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Now if it sucks, all I had to do is fucking sit my fat ass on my couch and eat a buffalo chicken wing.
Apparently, what the plan is for this is that it's going to be released directly to HBO Max, and it's going to forego a theatrical release, which, just so you know, this is what Warner Brothers, who kind of are a bunch of idiots, this is what they had planned for Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise was released in theaters and absolutely killed it, and probably one of the best horror movies of 2023. This is what they're planning for Salem's Lot, and apparently the indication is that it's not it's not indicative of the quality of the movie, but more so the fact that they need more streaming content for HBO Max following the strike, which kind of smells like bullshit to me.
It is, because it's like, well, this was already
like, is the movie good or is it not?
Before the strike, dude.
If the movie's good, why wouldn't you want to put it in theaters and make money off of it?
It's supposed to be in theaters 2 years ago,
right?
Because
like,
it smells.
Just fucking release it.
It smells. That's a bad omen.
I honest to God, if this movie sucks, I'm going to be so.
Don't. You know what? Don't.
Yeah, no,
Don't be.
Don't
be. Why even set yourself up for that?
Yeah, if you had to put money on it,
it's my favorite Stephen King novel.
But you know what? Give it 10 years.
Love
They're
the
gonna do it again.
Yeah, I know, and they haven't done a good adaptation of this. Like, this is one of this is. I do, but it needs a modern adaptation.
So just
like
go into it saying it's gonna
Andy
suck,
Muschietti
and
did
then
with the
just be pleasantly surprised.
Why does it need a modern adaptation though? Why can't the modern adaptation be?
Because the Tobe Hooper adaptation is still very good, but it's dated.
Outdated.
It's dated. Yeah, it's dated. Just like the It miniseries is dated as fuck and nowhere near as good as Tim Curry's performance.
But it is fun to watch.
It is fun to watch. But anyway, so apparently we're going to be getting that on streaming, which, okay, good idea, bad idea. I guess we'll wait to see. But Stephen King himself has also weighed in on this movie. Apparently he's seen it. And here's his quote. And this is just talk about a guy that dabbles in language. This is what Stephen King had to say about it. If I can get my goddamn computer to load, I can tell you exactly what he said, but he used like the weirdest language to describe it. Hold on.
That's a tablet. Not
a please. Computer. Here's a direct quote from Stephen King. The Warner Brothers remake of Salem's Lot, currently shelved, is muscular and involving. It has the feel of, quote, old Hollywood when a film was given a chance to draw a breath before getting to business, when attention spans were longer, in other words.
Okay.
So it's good.
Well, no, that means
it's
not just going to be a bunch of rushed bullshit.
It's not jump scares.
It's not what these new age TikTok.
Which that's how Salem's Lot, the novel.
Muscular and involving is an interesting way to describe it.
Makes me feel like it's aggressive.
Right?
Yeah.
That's usually how people refer to my penis. Muscular and
wow.
So I've heard.
Oh, that's just me. That's the word on the streets. Is Andrew's penis.
Muscular and involving.
Very nice. Yeah. Andrew's penis, muscular and involving. Ladies, if you're out there, Andrew's single, by the way, just so you know, in case you couldn't tell. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear some news on Salem's Lot.
Yeah, so anyway.
By the by, speaking of Stephen King stuff, the Welcome to Derry Pennywise It prequel miniseries has been pushed to 2025.
Well, they had to make room for Salem's Lot.
Yep,
2025?
2025. That's apparently supposed to be, set in the same universe as the It remake movies. Set, I think, how many years is it between Pennywise events? 30?
27.
27. So 27 years before the events of the two movies. So that's getting pushed back to 2025. And Matt, in news that may only interest you and I, Stephen King's new 12 short story collection coming out next year called You Like It Darker is featuring a sequel to
Cujo.
Cujo
Yeah, I
called
saw that.
Rattlesnake.
Ooh.
What does that have to do with Cujo?
I saw the thing I saw for it actually today featured a alligator on it.
Okay,
Ooh.
interesting.
Yeah,
A rabid gator.
All I saw that the story that was the sequel to Cujo was apparently, or maybe it was the working title, but it was called Rattlesnake. So I don't know.
His newest novel came out in September.
Apparently, the father of the kid and the single mom in Cujo is a central character in this story. That's how it's tied. That's how it's tied to. Well, the mom and the child from Cujo, the dad from that is a central character in Cujo. In the Cujo sequel story, excuse me.
The dad from Cujo?
The dad from Cujo.
Who's away on like a business trip?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I meant. Not like single dad, but like he's away for most of the story, right? So, yeah. Okay. So,
speaking of Stephen King adaptations, you know what movie was trash? That Pet Sematary movie was absolutely.
Oh, well, we'll get to that. We're going to get into
I haven't watched
this
yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
You know what? All I've heard about it is that it's fucking pretty harsh.
It's harsh.
It's like mean.
It's just badly acted.
I heard it's bad acting, but the storyline is like really rough. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm kind of interested.
It could be. It's hard to like get it.
I love Duchovny. I want to check it out, but I feel like there's so much more stuff I want to check out before that. So I'm like,
it's just not.
You said you couldn't get through it, right?
I didn't finish it.
Okay.
Like it wasn't. It's not like Firestarter bad, but it was just like. I just can't.
All right. Well, more on that in a little bit. Couple more quick news items, and then we should have a good 40 minutes to rip through some watch list stuff here.
40 minutes.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to talk about here. Last of Us season 2 heading into production early next year. By the way. Yep.
Oh, that's so late.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to be like, release next
strike,
week.
Dude.
No, writer strike. Writer strike. Hello.
Wait, so we all watched. You watched The Last of Us, right?
Yeah, we all did.
We've talked about it in depth.
Okay. I just don't remember every single podcast we podcast.
Yeah, so we don't need to continue the conversation.
Okay, well, that's next year. All right.
Last, but certainly not least, it was revealed last week that True Detective creator Nick Pizzolatto reveals that he has written an occult horror movie for Blumhouse.
I like Blumhouse.
Yeah, I know.
I wish it was A24.
You like
all the
Blumhouse.
theater or all the whatever they are.
Blumhouse.
Distribution.
I mean,
Nick Blumhouse.
Okay, so you put the words Nick Pizzolatto, True Detective, occult horror movie in a sentence. I'm like, yes, I'm on board. I'm already at half-mast. And then I hear Blumhouse, and I'm like, okay. But right. You have to remember.
It's like you're about to nut, and then a big fat dude gives you a wet willy.
Yeah, right? Like, but dude, you have to remember. So I'm pretty sure. So Blumhouse is also behind like Get Out, like some other popular, very movies. Good. They're not all Freaky and Happy Death Day and The Black Phone and all that shit.
But recently,
mostly it is, but not.
Weren't they Megan?
Not all the time. Megan,
the Halloween
I still haven't seen Megan.
I can't believe that you haven't seen Megan. Yeah. Of course, she's gonna love it. But I mean, hey,
I'm gonna love it. It doesn't seem like why. I don't feel like
it's your type of movie.
Yeah,
it's like the most you movie ever, and I can't believe that you're the only one that hasn't
I don't think
seen
it's no. I've seen the previews. I don't think it's a me movie. I think it's a.
I think it's a you.
No, the movie sucks.
That I look at the previews and I think that movie sucks.
I get that it's like gateway horror, but that's a bad movie. Like it's not a good gateway.
Okay, and that's your different outlook than I have on my horror movies. Because, like, yes, I like slasher films. I like these, like, weird teenage scream kind of things, cool zombie things, whatever. I don't think I'm going to like this.
Do you have TikTok?
I do.
You'll like it.
Do you have TikTok?
No.
Cat love.
Well, Andrew has TikTok. Mike has TikTok. Did they like it?
I don't know. Neither of us use it as frequently as you do.
And also, the TikToks that my algorithm is nothing like the TikToks
I have made 4 total.
No. Not talking about making TikToks. Watching.
That's
TikToks.
a different.
Andrew's TikTok algorithm is just chicks with big boobs and dudes lighting farts on fire.
Wait, hold on.
Not a bad algorithm.
It's just like flat Earth theory.
Flat Earth theory,
wild conspiracy
and farts.
But if you watch TikTok,
and ASMR
or if you watch
videos,
Instagram reels, or if you watch Facebook videos, it's all the same.
It is.
It's the same.
I'm just making
it's the same.
It's
like that's all the same.
I'm just being a prick.
All right.
It's all right.
Anyone else have anything newsworthy before we get into our next segment here?
No, let's
All right.
rip it.
All right, want to pause for a quick 90-second word from our sponsors. We'll be right back with our big old October watch list. We'll be right back.
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spooktacular.
Enter the new black hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's America's horror theme park. Spooky World. Sleepy Clovers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's killer this year. Then right next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
All right, we're back. All right. So, hey, I think the big thing that we wanted to do this episode, we all talked about it. We watched a lot of shit in October, and I feel like trying to squeeze all of that stuff into, a couple of episodes would have been rushed. So why don't we just take one whole episode and just be like, hey, here's what we watched this October. So why don't we just go like around the horn one by one, almost kind of like how Colors of the Dark does it, Matt? Just go one by one, maybe, and just say, hey, I watched this movie. If anyone else watched it, chime in, and we'll just keep going until we have blown our wad and we're done.
I don't have a wad to blow, but
31 movies.
So, I mean, if you, I would say you watched a movie a day.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff that you've seen before that wasn't new, maybe just run through quickly, obviously. Yeah. But like the newer stuff, like I have probably like 7 or 8 movies. I have like 3 TV shows, a couple books, a couple podcast recommendations. So I have some good stuff.
The face Andrew gave me when it said that, he literally like his eyes like half open, rolled to his head. He's like, "Fuck, dude, yeah, watch a movie a day." If I didn't watch a movie a day, I watched 2 to like make up for one I missed.
I was a follower. I'm a follower of your Instagram page, obviously, Matt. So I could see every movie that you watched all 31 days of October, and I applaud you for.
And I still posted my random horror picture every day.
Fuck yes, my friend.
I've been doing that since I was in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go first, I guess, and then we'll go Matt, Kat, and I. So I'll lead off here. Kat and I finally had a chance to watch Talk to Me, which I know, Matt, you've seen. Mm-hmm. Andrew, you still have not seen.
Negative.
Correct. I feel like Talk to Me, while interesting, and I said this to you guys in the group thread a while back, did almost kind of remind me of It Follows in a way, like similar vibes. Not quite an equivalent, but similar. And I just feel like this continues for me the trend of this year, the most hyped movies of the year being slightly overrated. Like this was okay. There was some good stuff. I would absolutely not consider this to be like an all-time classic.
Talk to Me is like a cat movie. 100%.
Really?
Yes.
So? Okay.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It was like a high school kind of thing where they have all these like weird.
I thought it's pretty dark though.
Yeah. Oh, dark doesn't matter. But I live in like the realm of like high schoolers and like
I think
slasher things.
It took a me A24 liking movie and a cat movie and it made it into one.
Yeah.
It was A24, right? Because I think it's the highest grossing A24 movie
ever
also
made. Australian.
Well, if you take your name and her name, it's so Matt.
I will say, starts off with an absolute bang.
It's cat with 2 teeth.
In the first 5 minutes. Yeah, the cold open is a huge, awesome thing, and I feel like it kind of almost went downhill from there. But I think it's interesting that, like, this is kind of this is made by a newer wave of new generation of filmmakers. Like these, I think the 2 brothers that made this movie were making stuff on TikTok before they were given the green light to make this film by A24. That's kind of cool. It's certainly an interesting concept.
There's
and
a
if you
already coming up.
Yeah, Talk the number 2 to me.
Talk to me.
Oh, it's like Happy Death Day.
To you.
Like 2000.
Basically, if you haven't heard of Talk to Me, I mean, it's one of the most talked about, no pun intended there, movies of the year for horror, where basically it's a group of Australian teenagers that come into possession of this
hand.
Monkey paw?
hand,
Monkey paw.
kind of, yeah.
It's kind
almost
of
like a monkey paw,
but it's a
where if
human
you touch it and you say talk to me,
So it's a human hand.
It's a human paw.
it aligns
human
you.
paw.
It aligns you with some sort of dead person,
Ghost,
demon, ghost, something like that, and they
It's like a
possess
hyperactive
you.
Ouija board.
Right, that's a great way of describing it. And then you're
All right,
possessed.
let's get a Ouija board.
You're
let's
possessed
do it.
by this.
No,
And the characters in the movie say that you're not supposed to be possessed by it for more than 90 seconds, or it's possible that you lose your mind and everything around you is fucked. And
Pretty
obviously, if you follow the
Well, don't
plot
give it
progression of
away.
several movies, there may be a character or two that may go beyond the 90 seconds and shit kind of starts to unravel. But I thought this movie was okay, but not great.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was the what was it? The when you as you get into it and you finally sit down and they do it and it shows you what they see in front of them.
Yeah, that was
I
fun.
was like, oh
Yeah.
fuck. I was like,
That was one of the
this
best
movie's
parts.
gonna be brutal.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it tapers off.
Yeah.
And then it has like its big scene towards the middle, where it gets out of control. And then the makeup effects in this movie are fucking
Oh, yeah.
spectacular. Because all the people that they see, all the people that, well, like, even when they're like using it, they look fucked. Dude.
Right. Well,
And it
obviously,
captured-
there's the big metaphor here with, like, you know,
teen
drug
drinking,
use.
drug use.
Yep.
Yeah. And
So-
just how everyone's just filming people like fucked up all the time.
Yeah.
Which it is kind of fucking bleak.
It is very.
I always like, you see those videos and like on like social media, people that are like totally bombed and they're like passed out throwing up all over themselves.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's hilarious. But
Cool.
you're also like, oh, that's also like
Yeah.
awful.
Like maybe leave these people alone.
It'd be like people taping me and fucking trying to get an Uber.
Well, like, but you weren't like you
No,
might have
I
been like
was
someone
still-
around drunk, but you were,
but I was still-
you weren't
I
like
wasn't-
throwing up on yourself.
Yeah.
Incapacitated,
There wasn't the
shitting
chance
your
of me
pants
maybe dying
like a
later that
moron.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so let's talk to me.
I gotta
Kat,
watch that one.
Any follow-up thoughts that you want to talk about with this movie?
I just like the whole, I mean, there was it was definitely a thriller in the sense of like, you were wondering what was going to happen after every minute because like, it was such a,
yeah, what is that 90 seconds?
yeah, you're like, what is this
Right.
going to happen?
What's that feel like?
What's going to happen to this person? What's going to happen to that person? Oh my God. Like
Yeah.
it just went from one emotion to the next, to the next, to the next. And you're like, holy shit. So like the build up for that was amazing. I really liked that movie. I thought
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
a good movie.
Probably going to be in Kat's top 10 for the year if I had to guess.
Potentially. There's
It's,
potential.
yeah, it'll probably land in my.
I
Probably
like
be
the-
close for me.
I liked the human paw thing.
The
It's
human
cool.
paw.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's cool.
So that's Talk to Me.
Like lovers do.
Well,
Another
and it had-
A24 movie with some serious head trauma, by the way.
Yeah, dude.
Serious.
True.
But they had all the writing on the hand, which they never. I feel like they could have gotten.
Stop giving it away. I haven't seen it.
Andrew hasn't seen it. Andrew hasn't seen it.
Shut up. No.
I feel like they could
I
have
already
gone
forgot what you were
into
saying
more
'cause I
of
wasn't listening.
what
Well,
was
the
about.
sequel is probably
Sequel
gonna
might-
do that.
Okay, well, I felt like they could have
Talk
gotten
to me.
more about the artifact. We'll say
Like,
the artifact.
what is it? Yeah.
Like what
It's
is
a
it? Where it came
chilled
from? Whatever.
monkey brain.
I kind of like that they
I-
didn't do that.
No,
but I understand what
yes,
you're saying. Yeah.
But I think maybe in the sequel they could get into.
I'm sure they will.
Also,
I'm sure they
there's like the black kid, and then the other kid. Is that a guy? Girl.
I think.
I think
girl.
they've already discussed
It's
this.
a girl. Yeah.
I like didn't know. I was like not even trying to like be fucking a
Yeah.
dickhead. I'm like,
No.
I didn't
I
know.
think it's.
Yeah.
I think it's a girl.
'Cause
Oh, that's
if anything, I did
weird.
read about that. There was like this like uproar about whatever.
not the
Wait.
main character.
From
Like
the-
that
from the
girl
people
that
that are
has the hand. All
Yeah.
the
The
time.
two people that have the hand.
It's like that black kid, and then like the other kid with
The
like,
girl with
mullet
the
and shit.
shortish hair.
Yeah,
That's always
she's a
smoking
girl.
like in the house.
she's
Like
a
that's a
girl.
girl.
But she's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
mad
Yeah.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's just like, dude. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So
Yeah.
that's Talk to
She's
Me.
it's a good movie. It's a great
Okay.
movie.
Matthew,
I like
what do
it.
you got?
All right. So
And keep in mind,
that was
let's,
it? That's
I
all you
have a
had?
lot.
let's
so
no, no.
I'm
We're
gonna
gonna
kinda
go. We're gonna go one by one and go in a circle here. We'll
One
try and
by
motor along here
one.
because we got a half hour till Matt gets out of here. So
I'm
We got
gonna
26
I'm
minutes.
gonna go with only the ones that I haven't seen before. So the first movie I watched October 1st was the French movie Inside. I had kind of went back and forth on starting this one. This is about a woman that attacks a pregnant woman on Christmas Eve and tries to steal the baby out of her stomach. It is fucking
Yikes.
vicious, dude.
Is this new?
No, it's from 2007.
Oh,
It is absolutely out of fucking control. It stars
sounds like it.
Oh man, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she's in Trouble Every Day, which is another fucking brutal French movie. But yeah, no, this movie is like the bloodiest movie I've seen in a while, and like it's just so fucked up and out of control. It really captures, like when we talked about Martyrs, it's right in there with just like, dude, like this era of film is so fucking angry, dude. Like angry. Like Trouble Every Day, not so much, but then you have like Irreversible, Inside, Martyrs, Frontiers, like, dude, just like Calvaire, like just like abhorrent fucking violence. And it's out of control, but the movies are made so well that you're like, I don't know what to do.
I like this.
Yeah. No, Inside definitely is like, that's one that there's no reason I need to watch it.
Oh,
it was one I can watch. Like Irreversible, as brutal as that movie is, that one I can actually watch again because it is so fascinating. That storyline to be played completely back.
See, I feel like I could watch Martyrs again. I feel like that movie didn't. Same with Trouble Every Day. And
Trouble Every Day is not bad.
Irreversible.
No, Trouble Every Day is definitely not bad.
No, that's just a weird.
Irreversible. It's just like rape scenes are bad. I fast forward through it. But
yeah, rape scenes are bad. And
rape scenes are
like,
bad, but I feel like
I fast forward through it, and it's like it's the rest of the movie that I can get through.
Yeah.
And also, you kind of get like
it's really rapey.
Really
yeah,
bad.
like,
it's really bad, and it goes on for
it's
like
9 minutes long.
9 minutes.
That's outrageous.
I fast forward that part. I'm like, I don't need.
Once you've seen that, you don't need to see
But it's like what happens. The craziest part of Irreversible, just like not to get totally sidetracked, is that the most devastating thing is what you find out after.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's brilliant filmmaking. But yeah, Inside, I'm like, you know what? I get it. It's fucked up. Like, yeah. And like, I don't want to see someone stab scissors through someone's belly button.
I don't want to see scissors through belly buttons either.
I don't want anybody touching.
So I was like, hey,
no way.
No, dude,
scissors
I don't your belly button. Do you fear that your belly button's gonna come unraveled and all your insides?
No,
no, but I don't.
Really? Because I literally get that. Yeah.
Stop it.
I've had nightmares before that someone would take a key and turn it inside my belly button.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I just don't like it's like if someone like I don't mind digging links out of my own belly button or pokes your belly button. It's like
get out of me.
Your belly button's not going anywhere.
It's funny that we spoke about that, and meanwhile we're also talking about Irreversible. And like, yeah, rape scenes are bad, but like we don't want to belly buttons.
I'll kill you.
Yeah,
I'll kill you.
I know. We should throw a little trigger warning on that part.
All right. So what's the name of that movie again?
Inside.
Okay. Catherine, anything you want to throw out there?
So last night we watched American Horror Stories.
Yes, the newest season.
The
of
newest
American
season.
Horror Stories, yes.
And we just threw it on, and they had an episode of Bloody Mary that was pretty good. So it was pretty much like an episode of, the whole like when you were younger and you go and you say Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. It was a riff on that.
Candyman.
Yes, it was a riff on the Candyman. It was a riff on the same thing, but it was good. It was really good. I also I like American Horror Story to an extent. Sometimes I like that Mike suggested to just throw on, be like, you want to watch something quick, like let's throw on American Horror Stories. And there's a different one for each episode. So like you can just be like, let's just pick one, whatever.
This is
it was good though. It was a good episode. I mean, I don't know, we haven't watched enough to really judge the whole thing, but I mean, I picked a good one, we'll say.
Yeah.
But
this is about as shallow as the shallowest end of the pool. You could probably, if you dove in, you did a belly flop, you'd break your nose with 3/8 of the inches into the pool. It's just that shallow. It's a stupid story. It's almost like kind of like an R-rated episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? If I could describe it
so you
in that
didn't
way.
Like it?
No, I liked it just fine. It was fine, but it's not anything like.
Well, you're
crazy.
breaking your nose, so I wouldn't imagine that means you'd like it.
I have a bigger nose, so I probably would.
So you're breaking like half your nose.
Anyway, my point being that this is the format that American Horror Story as a whole should follow going forward, because all of the seasons that they've had recently It's too long.
I'm gonna
The
be.
stories are too drawn out. They need to. They should move to an anthology. Almost.
Just
they
bring
should be
back Tales from the Crypt.
They should become. They should become.
Follow the House of Usher.
Because I feel like Ryan
Well, we
Murphy
haven't gotten there yet.
is
but we are.
It
interested
should.
in making American Horror Story about LGBTQ stories, which is what he has done the last several seasons. Okay, so make American Horror Story an LGBTQ Tales from the Crypt. Every episode's a different story,
Different, yeah.
like whatever. Do something like that.
I just don't like watching.
I don't need a
8
whole
episodes
season.
of bullshit
Right.
to get like 2 episodes of.
Hold my
something
attention
scary.
for one episode, and I mean, shit.
And
If
then
you
go
want
so
on
much
back.
yeah.
filler,
A
dude.
self-sustaining episode is so much, but that's why Follow the House of Usher. That show.
We're
Uh,
gonna get to
lame.
that.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
get-
get to that.
No, I agree. American Horror Story. It's like even the early seasons. I'm like, dude, like season 1, I was like, dude, there's like 6 episodes that I'm like, I don't care about this. Stuff. Yeah.
I'm going to volunteer to watch the season of Delicate. I know that you have no interest in it.
Zero.
We know that.
And
Zero.
I'm going to
What?
volunteer to watch the entire season myself because I think I'm pseudo interested in it.
You are
It
stoked.
would be. I'm not stoked.
You're stoked.
No, I'm pseudo interested in it. Solely by the commercials, but
Kat, you talked
I
about
watched-
Jersey Shore for like 4
Well,
episodes.
yeah, the
dude.
family
You're
vacation-
stoked to watch
if
this.
you watched Jersey Shore Family Vacation,
No, we don't need to talk about
We don't
that.
have time for that. We don't have time. We don't have time.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead, go ahead, go
No
ahead.
time. No time.
No Jersey Shore
No,
time.
no,
Matt is on time
So
crunch.
I'm saying that I would volunteer to watch Delicate and report back.
I appreciate
Okay.
that. Please report back.
Great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I'm sure that you will like it if I had to guess.
We shall see.
We shall see. Okay, so that's American Horror Stories. Which again,
Delicate.
I
no,
will.
that's
I
not stories, but well, the one. Yes.
no, no,
the
no,
one
no,
I
no,
was
no.
talking
You,
about, yes,
originally, we were talking about
Stories,
American
yes.
Horror Stories, and I concur. I would recommend it. So
Yeah,
I think
because
it's
it's
good.
an anthology. You can go and pick whatever one you think.
Exactly.
might
If one episode sucks,
pique your
watch the next
interest.
one, and maybe it's good.
You're like, oh, well, and if you can scroll through, go
Yeah.
through all of them, be like,
Moving
oh,
on.
this one looks kind of cool. Like it might be up my alley. Pick it. Like,
All right.
I mean, there's a bunch.
Andrew, what do you got?
Before we run out of time, we got to talk about the banger of all bangers. When Evil Lurks.
Yes.
That fucking wild Argentinian horror movie that is basically like this year's Speak No Evil or
Mhm.
Hereditary. Like there are so many scenes in that movie that just you go, Jesus Christ! What did I
dude,
just?
It
watch?
was like getting pummeled.
It was so good. Like, what a great
I
premise.
was so happy I was the first one to
Oh.
watch it out of all of us
because I had like looked at it and I
I
was
got
like,
to be
oh.
like, listen, this
And
is
then I-
not a joke.
Then you brought up that scene and it was like, that's not going to happen. They're not going to do that. Oh, fuck. Oh my God, they did that.
And then it gets even worse.
I just, no, but that was the scene after the scene where I was like, that scene was wild. And I was like, and you're like, yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
Well, that's when that was what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was like, this movie has 0 boundaries.
No boundaries.
Was after the dad comes back. I was like,
That was
no.
the best way to describe it, Matt, when you said it, that this movie has 0 boundaries.
Yeah.
There is like any sort of comfort zone that you think you're in. You're not there.
But even
You're
the
not
fact
there.
that it had no boundaries,
Did you
the
watch that?
story
No, she
itself is
I don't know if you
so
watched it.
well done. It's such a great, like, unique possession story.
Yeah.
That
where they
it's
treat them like infected.
yeah,
Yeah, and apparently it's not something that's
basically,
already
yeah, they're just like
wiped
this.
people up.
It's the most interesting take on possession type stuff I've seen in any movie in a long time. Like by
It's
far.
great how it plays on the fact that
and they look fucking awful.
They
the
do.
everyday people eventually, like, it's what happens when you have a tight knit community and you lose faith in your government and their ability to handle any situation, and the government just leaves you basically to be yourself,
Mhm.
and you have to deal with it. And this is what people do when they have to deal with each other.
So, dude,
It
so-
fucking turns out of control.
I was really fired up to watch this. And so you see the guy that is like the rotten. Basically, that's what they call the possessed
Yeah.
people at first.
Yeah.
We'll get into spoilers, I guess. Fuck it, I don't.
I feel like
don't give a
we're
fuck.
going to talk a lot more about this at the end of the
Kat
year.
hasn't seen it. Maybe we can get
So-
into spoilers because
And
this,
I
this
feel
is
like
going
a
to
lot
come
of
up on our year end
a lot of people
episode.
haven't seen this movie.
Yeah, I
and
feel like
they
for sake of time, maybe we just go broad
Okay.
overview here.
But
Yeah.
either way, when they're moving him
I can tell you.
and they like,
Oh,
Oh, God.
disgusting.
Yeah,
dude,
nasty,
I like
nasty.
thought when they go back into that, like when you see that like something happened, I was like, dude,
Splat.
did he pop?
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
He just popped like a
Dude, it
I was
reminded
like,
me
dude, I
almost
was
of like,
ugh.
you know what it reminded me of? Is like Slither a bit, but like
A little bit.
much more serious.
The scene featuring the Dog de Bordeaux.
Yeah,
The French
oh my god,
Mastiff.
Mhm.
That was the most.
I will never
Awful
forget that
scene.
scene. I don't know what's worse.
It's up there, top 3 for me, most awful fucking scene I've ever seen in a movie.
Mm. Yeah.
It's up there with the Speak No Evil scene.
There's the ending of the
Tongue.
Serbian film. The tongue scene from Speak No Evil.
The hereditary
really
scene with the
fucked me
head
up.
off the fucking.
Oof.
No, that didn't fuck me up as bad.
that wasn't as bad.
But that was, dude, it's the under the table shot where you're like, dude, like, stop.
Can we
I don't
talk
wanna
about-
see that.
I still honestly I still can't believe that he went there. Like I remember like
Sarah was watching it too. She was like, dude, she stormed
Oh,
out
I
of the room. She's like,
can't.
what is this? fucking
this is
movie?
like the
Dude,
type
that scene, I understand that.
Yeah.
I get that. Because that scene, I had to go smoke like 3 cigarettes. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
having
I can't
watched
watch
that scene and knowing that it's Damien Arugna, right? This is his name, I believe.
Yeah,
so he also directs Terrified.
Yeah, well, he's already killed the kid with the bus and that.
Yeah,
movie.
so watching that movie combined with When Evil Lurks, like it made me question the sanity of the filmmaker. Like I thought to myself, like,
give a fuck.
this person making this movie might be a danger to society. Like this is about as disturbing of a thing as I've ever seen in my entire life. And I obviously couldn't help.
Did you watch Terrified?
Yes.
That
Yes, I
movie's
have.
fucking brutally.
But
bad.
for
awesome.
some
It's great,
reason,
though. It's
though,
very good.
immediately after that scene takes place and she seems fine,
Weird.
you're kind of like,
Yeah, okay.
all right,
What just
no,
happened here?
it's almost like, all right, that scene didn't affect me nearly as much as I thought it did because I'm like, it's not like this just, it's almost like
Yeah.
it like nullified the fact that just took place. Even
Until
though in reality, you're
something
like,
else happens.
yeah, and then that happens. But also, my biggest takeaway from this movie is the main character, whatever that fucking guy's name is, absolute jagaloon, coward, fucking idiot he is. That guy is the worst lead character. He does everything everyone says
Wrong.
don't do.
Yeah.
Don't do it, and then he just
Don't do it.
runs.
Just
Like the
does
scene where
it.
he's just running. She's like, "I told you, don't run," and then he just
All right.
everybody dies because of him. That guy's an
Well,
idiot.
let's save it because again, I know this is going to come up on year-end episodes, but I know Matt and I are in the same boat because we both have daughters and we both have dogs, and
Big enough dogs.
yeah, that was very hard to watch. And
That's like my biggest fear, dude.
yeah, I know.
That's
Well,
like-
let's just end it there and move on. That's When Evil Lurks on Shudder. So okay. I mean, to me, I believe. Why don't we talk real quick, Kat? So, because you watched this with me, why don't we talk about Five Nights at Freddy's real quick?
Oh, I forgot we watched that.
Yeah, we sure did.
It's so funny when you were like, watch this. I was like, I didn't write anything down besides Coco and Scream and
What's
American Horror Story.
what's Coco?
Nothing to do with anything. Continue.
By the way, so Five Nights at Freddy's, if you've been living under a rock, probably the most popular horror movie in the world right now and potentially of the year because it's breaking all sorts of box office and Peacock streaming
Oh, really?
records,
Wasn't it
yeah.
trash,
which is
though?
unbelievable.
watch
And
It's like it's got the kid.
Oh
element to
yeah.
it.
Well,
It's a
it
good
has the
movie.
kid element to it, but not
It's a
really.
good-
like,
good
I wouldn't
movie?
bring-
Story.
I
No.
wouldn't bring my kids
Fail.
to
so
watch it.
it's a okay.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't bring Bridget to watch it, but I don't know if I'd bring like a 5-year-old to watch it
No, I'd bring
either.
a 10-year-old.
Here's what it
I
has
don't
working
think I'd
for
bring
it.
a
wouldn't bring a
10-year-old.
5-year-old
I
to
don't
watch
think I'd bring a 10-year-old to watch that either. I feel like it's a thing that like it's like Bizarro Chuck E. Cheese's. Like it's
Okay.
not.
It's a
I would
PG-13
not- No.
Blumhouse movie where it's clearly so. If you guys ever played any of the Five Nights at Freddy's
I
video
mean-
games,
I have.
I
right?
don't even know. What that
Obviously,
No.
because we're all in our
But who?
late 20s and 30s.
But who has
Obviously,
been,
we have not.
Who has
But
been to Chuck E. Cheese?
me,
Yes.
yes, hello.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So it's a Bizarro Land Chuck E. Cheese where the Chuck E. Cheeses are AI.
Yeah, I
and
know what
then,
it is,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
I
But like,
understand the concept of the show.
as a 10-year-old, no. As a 13, 14, 15-year-old, when you're past all of that, because I feel like 10-year-olds like prime time Chuck E. Cheese.
That's when
like,
you're supposed to get scared.
No.
wanna watch a
Not
horror
with,
movie,
like,
it's not gonna
no,
freak
not
you out.
with real like Chuck E. Cheese.
Can we talk about the
things.
movie and stop talking about Chuck E. Cheese's? I want to hear what he has
I'm-
to say.
Yes, sorry. Go ahead, Michael. Go
I
on
get
with
it.
the
It's a
chlorophyll.
Chuck E. Cheese
Yeah,
bio.
it's a Chuck E. Cheese
bio
AI
Superman, whatever
thing.
fucking-
Yeah.
So it's based on a very
Bizarro.
popular series of video games called Five Nights at Freddy's, and obviously it was long awaited. And when Blumhouse was going to adapt it, I was like, "Great, it's going to be a PG-13 piece of shit."
And it was.
It wasn't. No, it was
And
good. I thought it was good.
It kind of was, but it also kind of wasn't. Here's what
I
was
thought it was
working.
pretty good.
Here's what was working in its favor. all of the animatronic characters were all designed by the Jim Henson Creature Shop. They all look fantastic. It's all practical. They all look really cool.
Amazing.
There is some creepy stuff in there for a PG-13 horror movie. This is definitely like, it's not a straightforward horror movie for hardcore horror fans. This is the type of movie that is going to probably be a gateway type of horror movie for younger kids to get them into horror, which I'm sorry, I will always respect that. I think that's a cool thing. This is one of those movies, but for me, ultimately, it just gets way too corny at the end, and they try and loop in too much lore and story as to why the animatronics are haunted. But you also get a great performance from Matthew Lillard, probably being the most Matthew Lillard he's ever been since Scream, which was awesome to see. But I mean, that and combine that and the Jim Henson Creature Shop, I was in. But also, just for point of reference, because I'm in the minority here, okay? So just so you know, let's see. So Five Nights at Freddy's released on Peacock and in theaters, the same thing, by the way. Passing $135 million at the box office in theaters. And basically, Five Nights at Freddy's has, quote, become Peacock's most watched film or series ever in its first 5 days on the streaming platform.
See, I had no idea that this was such a big thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm totally
Huge
beyond my radar.
It's like a
I had
computer
no
game or something,
idea.
right? Yeah.
Like,
So you can download you can download Five Nights at Freddy's on your phone.
I'm
and
gonna
play it.
do that. I'm gonna do that tomorrow because I do Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is it the same thing? It's like animatronic fucking monster.
It's basically, so it's a point and click game.
Is it like you're walking through like an abandoned building?
So basically,
with
in the
those
games,
animatronics
you
in it?
are a security guard, just like the main
Okay.
character in
I
this movie.
have seen like
You're in the
videos of
control
this. It's
room,
kind of creepy.
and you can look at the security cameras to see where the animatronics are. You have limited power, and as you click from camera to camera, they start to move. And your objective is to basically survive the night without them coming to kill you.
It seems like it would be a creepy game.
It's a creepy game for sure, but like the movie, if they had made it rated R, like it could have been way better. But I don't know.
Well, there's that like Willy's Wonderland with Nick Cage. It's the same fucking movie.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, by the way, Five Nights at Freddy's, by the way, biggest Blumhouse global opening of all time, ahead of Halloween from 2018, $91.8 million. Biggest opening for a horror film directed by a woman, Blumhouse's third project with the director of this movie. Highest grossing opening weekend for a Blumhouse film, $76.2 million. Highest opening for any PG-13 horror movie ever, surpassing The Mummy Returns, $68.1 million.
kind of embarrassing.
Biggest original horror opening of 2023 and the second biggest horror opening just behind The Nun 2. My God, unbelievable.
This is why I have no faith in humanity.
Yikes.
Because this
You
is
know
what
what?
people want to go see.
No, you know what this does
It's
give
an
me
open-
faith in
yeah.
humanity, because this means that there are younger people that are interested in seeing horror movies, and that
true.
means that's a good thing for us.
True.
So yeah, that's Five Nights at Freddy's. I won't waste any more time on that. Matthew, you're up next.
So I'm gonna just kind of breeze through real quick. I have a few movies I watch every year. I do a lot of the Halloween movies. I do like to watch Halloween, specifically Halloween 1, Halloween 3, Halloween 4, and 5.
Wow, you did watch all of those?
Mhm.
Wow.
Through 31 days, yeah.
Wow. That's a good point.
He's like freeform TV.
I did also do the Night of the Living Dead. I did Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead 3 days in a row. That was probably my favorite thing I did all month. And then I did, for a new one, I watched Suitable Flesh. This movie is awesome.
Okay, I haven't watched it yet. I haven't
good,
rented.
Very fun.
Can't wait to see it.
Very much it has this like 90s like sleaze factor as much as it has like the 80s like Stuart Gordon Reanimator From Beyond kind of vibe.
Mhm.
And then you mix those two together and you kind of get this fucking absolute wacko movie. I watched that back to back from When Evil Lurks, and I went into this, and I was like, "Wow, what a different fucking movie!" It was a nice palate cleanser.
Different vibe, yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, When Evil Lurks was just so bleak and fucking mean, and then this one was at least like, it was fucked up, but it was at least like wacky enough to be. It just, I was like, okay, I can go to bed.
I did the opposite. I did Suitable Flesh, then When Evil Lurks.
Yeah, then you had to watch 3 hours of Sports Center.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I was like, I should have watched that other one. So the more that movie's marinated in my soul, the more I like it.
Yeah.
But it does have a lot of like Skinamax 90s vibes.
Pretty much,
which is fine because I'm like, I like tits.
You have my
there's
attention.
that.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's just such cheesy.
It's a cool story.
It's such a cheat. Yeah, the story and the general plot is borderline amazing. It's almost like Smile in that aspect. Like the story, the idea is fantastic, but it's done in such a way that you're like, this is so corny. But it's supposed to be corny.
It's fine.
Supposed to be, but it's gruesome. Like there's some the
gore and that's
at
insane.
the end, like just like the car crash scene at the end. It's just like wow. Like, Heather Graham, fantastic. Barbara Crampton, fantastic.
A couple of specimens, those two.
Bruce Davison? Is that it? Yeah.
He's a good actor too.
He's fantastic.
Everyone in it is great. So it's a very enjoyable, kind of wild.
The more it's marinated on me, the more I enjoyed it.
This is in my top 10 for sure.
Oh yes, it's definitely out there because I finished this and then I was like, I'm gonna watch From Beyond too.
Yeah, I mean, you have me at Lovecraft and Heather Graham and Barbara Crampton, so I'm gonna watch it. I'm sure I will love it. I will report back. Matt, before you have to cut out of here, I'm trying to look at my list of stuff here and see if there's anything on here that we can talk about real quick. Okay, Matthew, thoughts on the newest season of Radio Rental, which started on Friday, October 13th?
I like it so far. There's some. So you mentioned like one of the stories I listened to last week was very creepy. The one about the little girl who.
I should mention, by the way, I'm a Patreon.
So
theirs.
yeah,
so
dude,
I'm
getting like skipped on episodes.
I get a week. I'm a week ahead of everybody else because they release their like the following week.
Mr. Cool Guy.
Yeah. Well, dude, I give him $1 a month and I get an episode a fucking week early. Are you kidding me? Absolutely.
But the one this past episode, which I guess was 2 weeks ago for you, the one with the little girl being like, oh, like Jenny, this, that, and Jenny.
Oh yeah, that one was.
And
creepy.
then she's like, oh, it's the girl that watches me like while I'm sleeping.
And with the preschool teacher telling her, that's weird. Yeah, that one was super weird.
But like, the parents being weird about it. The other ones have all been kind of just like random, like camping situations that were like weird. And
the scariest one for me this season by far was the first episode of the first segment of the first episode, which is the guy that was going hunting by himself in the middle of Texas, and he saw what he thought was a person. And
that one was fucked up.
He got down on all fours and howled, or basically pleaded like a lost girl, saying like, "Help me, I'm lost, I need help." And it's a naked, crazy, feral person, skinwalker, and like that story freaked me.
Dude, why can't I listen to those episodes? The last 2 episodes I listened to,
you just gotta,
I was like, these were terrible. It was like one was this girl that like her and her mother were terrified because someone was in their house and it was like her brother drunk coming home. I was like,
yeah,
fucking
that one sucks.
Well, wait a second. How far back?
That was like end of season. That was like episode 42.
Yeah, there's
and then the other one
of those.
Yeah, and then the other one was
some of them are so stupid.
Yeah, and it was like this woman who was like some guy. I was like near like a power line and this guy died like a.
That one was
and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Oh, the one where she like had a premonition.
Yeah, and then I was like, I had the same thing, and I was like, I can't listen. It was all in the same episode, and it was the first. I was like, Craig, you got to listen to the show. It's really good. And that was the first 2. And Craig was like, this is the worst thing I've ever.
So the one that I was referring to in our group chat, which will come out for you guys this Friday, is a story about a couple that goes on vacation in Aruba, and they go to a timeshare presentation, and they get a voucher for a free excursion. And they don't realize at the time that it's sketchy, and all of a sudden it just becomes sketchy, and they realize that they're like, we're about to be sex trafficked here. Like, we need to get
that's why I was like, dude,
out of here.
You talked about like a sex trafficking thing, and I'm like, the episode started, and this lady's talking about preschool children. I'm like, dude, like
it freaked me
what the fuck am I about to listen to?
No, not that one. So yeah, I'm a week ahead of you guys. But I think overall, I mean, this is the podcast that like they have some absolute horrifying stories, and some of them are so bad. You know
what's crazy though is like, as some of them are like that really deeply fucked up, and then you have like Rainn Wilson being like, me and my cat are gonna
right?
go
dude, that's so
honestly, I'm like, how is there this like comedic like?
I have zero use for Rainn Wilson as Terry Carnage.
It's just so weird to have this like goofy, soft element to these like.
It's my vortex, and my niece, and my cousin, my cat Malachi.
See, I love Rainn Wilson though.
Yes. I mean, Rainn Wilson's fine, but yeah, so that's Radio Rental. I mean, it continues to be a very good podcast, very spooky stuff, but I just think this season has mostly been okay with a few very good stories. Let's see, Matthew, anything else that you want to touch on before we rip out of here real quick?
That's all I got, bud.
Okay, all right. Why don't we take a quick pause here, because I think we got a couple things more that we want to talk about, and we'll be right back. All right, Andrew, I know it's just you and I here now, as everybody else is kind of logged off here for the night. Is there anything else that you are itching to talk about right now before we, move on to the rest of November? Anything else that you want to touch on that for watch list stuff that cannot wait in your mind until next week?
So I know that we both have finished
as Otis runs around
the Fall of the House of Usher.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was one of the best shows that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't watched the other Mike Flanagan shows, so I'm going to have to check those out, but I thought the show absolutely killed it. It was so well done.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about the Fall of the House of Usher. As a fan of Edgar Allan Poe, as a fan of Mike Flanagan in general. And again, I know you already stated that you have not watched most of his other things, and I would implore you to watch most of his other things. And I would say you should start with The Haunting of Hill House, which is
See, I heard Midnight
absolutely
Mass is the one that I would probably like.
Well,
No.
Midnight Mass, I think you would actually really like, because I know that you have a background in religion.
Because I started with The Haunting of Hill House and I got very bored.
See, I'm surprised by that. I feel like Hill House grabbed me like from the beginning. So that's interesting to hear you say that. But anyway, you have a very strong background in religion. So I think that Midnight Mass will grab you in that sense.
I still haven't seen Midnight Mass either.
It's very slow. It's a very slow burn, and it's kind of boring. It's a very big, it's like, let me put it this way. Midnight Mass is the most Stephen King thing that Stephen King has never himself written. And then it becomes something completely different, which I think you would really like. But leading up to it, there is a lot of slow burn drama, a lot of very good performances, kind of reflecting. It's a lot about like alcoholism, a lot about religion, a lot about growing up Catholic. I know you didn't grow up Catholic.
But in a religion.
I know all about alcoholism, though.
Yep, for sure. And it's a very, very good story. It honestly, it's like kind of, I would call Midnight Mass almost like a sister story to Storm of the Century.
Oh, so fucking sad.
Yeah, so you would probably really dig it. So give it a shot. I mean, I don't know if you'll like it or not. I would think, knowing you, that you would like it. But I still think the pinnacle of his TV series achievements is still The Haunting of Hill House. That show is awesome. I can't believe that you thought it was boring. I think Fall of the House of Usher is like top 2, top 3 for him. It's like unbelievable. But like that is not a slight to the Fall of the House of Usher, because I feel like he's done very, very good TV things for Netflix, and this is one of the best things that he's done for Netflix. And I've described it to people as almost like a highbrow version of American Horror Story, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I feel like it's just it's schlocky and trashy and sexy in that sense, and gory and over the top, like American Horror Story tends to be. But this is actually an engaging story that keeps you interested for a full 8 episodes. And it ties in the Edgar Allan Poe stuff throughout the entire series, which I really, really loved. So if you're a fan of Poe, I feel like you're going to know what generally might happen to a lot of these characters going through.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not, you're probably going to like the show just as much and not have any sort of clue as to what's going on. And I just thought it was fantastic. Just
everything was well done. They nailed it on the story.
Yeah.
The acting was phenomenal. The general, I don't even like this, just like the gore in it, and the shock value for
very gory, very sexy, very over the top, very I don't even know how else to describe it beyond that.
Sexy.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot of sex in it.
Yes.
There's a lot of sexual references. There's a lot of weird sex things.
A lot of weird sex. Yeah.
It was very sexual in a lot of weird aspects.
I don't know if it was sexy. Sexual, yes,
it's
but
not
not sexy. I didn't
no.
find any of it sexy.
No,
I didn't
like
mean it in the sense of like I was titillated by it. I meant it was very sex-ish. Like a lot of over-the-top sex. Yes. I was also not like, turned on by it or anything like that. It was like over the top.
That would be weird.
Yeah, over the top, very, very sexish, very gory, very schlocky, very B movie, like almost kind of a throwback to some of the B horror movies of yesteryear that some of the Edgar Allan Poe stuff was drawn from, but like in a much more jokey way.
Well, the production value was 10 times, a billion times.
Oh, yeah. For sure. So,
like, you can't even compare it to, like, you can in that aspect. Well, but at the same point in time, like, it's so well done that it's not even close to being a B movie.
And from the beginning, you're waiting for the end. Like,
right.
That's something to say. That, like,
from the beginning, you're waiting for the end.
Yes, because they hint about what's going to happen from the beginning when he's, like, seeing all these visions and stuff, and like when he's sitting in this chair, like they're hitting all these notes of saying like there's going to be something that's going to happen at the end. Like they're all
again though, it's like it is a lot of Edgar Allan Poe, but he does dabble in a lot of like it's very Stephen King vibes to it. Like there's a lot of just that like almost Twilight Zone-ish kind of.
See, I would say that this is the type of story that. Like, this is what, like, the executives at Warner Brothers or at Marvel or wherever have wet dreams about how they can do a shared universe. Because all of this, by the way, they're doing Edgar Allan Poe stuff. And it is... So, yes, the story is called The Fall of the House of Usher, and it is based upon that particular story. But... all of Usher's children in this story are based on specific characters from other Edgar Allan Poe stories. So it's all of Edgar Allan Poe's stuff loosely connected,
very loosely,
and it all works very well. And obviously,
it works fantastic.
All
and
8 episodes are
where
all
it's going.
called like different things. So
they're
it's
different.
Like,
they're different short stories,
right? So it's cool, and I dug it. So I mean, I don't know if there's anything else I missed. Whatever you guys thought, Catherine, Andrew.
No, I thought it was great. I liked all the characters. I liked the character like evolution from each one, and I liked that each episode was about a character. I thought that was interesting too. So I felt like. You start to get to know the characters, and then you're like, it's a weird matrix that once you start watching this, that each person is going to die, and you're like, how is this person going to die? In what way? Like, how is this going to happen? Like, you start anticipating these things that are going to happen, and you just wonder, like, oh, this is this episode about this person. I know they're going to die. Like,
well, and I think that's one of the things the show does that works in its favor. From the onset that all of these characters are going to die.
Yeah,
because it's a matter of in the very first episode. Yeah,
how do they all die, and what Edgar Allan Poe story are they going to die from? What modern iteration of that?
I think one of the best things they do too is they pick. It's very topical. It takes a very prominent family that has been basically put through the ringer for a lot of shit that they put people through.
Right.
The pharmaceutical company that destroyed a lot of people's lives.
It's a very real thing.
It makes it very easy. They make them the villain, and you never look back. You want them all to die, and you should want them all to die because they're all pieces of shit.
They're all easily
and they
hateable.
Make it very easy to hate them, which makes the scenes where they die and the ways that they die.
You're kind of okay with.
No, not okay with. You're rooting for. You want them.
Not all of the kids. Not all.
Oh, I wanted them all to die. I thought they were all pieces of shit and they all deserve to die. And the general family in itself sucks. Yeah. They should die. Prospero, he's a piece of shit.
The only one who was kind of a redeeming character was
Dick.
He was the worst.
Who was redeeming?
Rahul Cooley, who played the he was like the
cat guy,
the cat guy. Yep, the black cat.
Yeah,
episode.
He was okay because
he seemed like
really
he was at least
didn't want
he was
anything to do with it, but he still was kind of a piece of shit. He was cheating on his boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like
they all had problems. They all had problems,
and they all were looking out for numero one,
right?
Numero uno, which was themselves, and they got exactly what they deserved. And I didn't feel bad for any of them dying.
True.
Which is what they want you to do.
Actually, the only person I did feel bad for was the social media chick, the blonde-haired one, Mike Flanagan's wife. Actually,
she was arguably the worst.
No, I know, but she at least knew.
She knew
what she was. She knew what she was doing, and I was like, you know what? At least you know that you're just what you're doing is
time for her to die.
I used to be a piece
I kind of. Well, you can respect that.
She wasn't blonde. She was white hair.
She had platinum hair.
White hair.
Platinum. It was dyed.
Okay. Yes, it was dyed.
But she at least had the cognizance, or I don't know if that's a fucking word.
It's fine.
She knew that what she was doing
was not good.
Was not good,
not right.
But that was her job, and she needed to do it. Everyone else had like this distorted view of themselves.
She had arguably the worst death of all, by the way.
Yeah, getting ripped apart by a
chimpanzee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By the way, ever seen the interview with the woman who got her face ripped off?
Getting a shower of fucking acid.
Oh,
might suck too. You ever seen the interview with the woman that was on Oprah that had her face ripped off by a chimpanzee and didn't she show her face?
Dude.
Honestly, probably one of the most disturbing things you'll ever see in your entire life.
Terrifier.
God bless her.
Terrifier.
Yeah. Same thing. That was based on that Oprah interview. Yeah, it was fucked. Yeah.
And Nope. Kind of got into that too.
I gotta watch Us again. Like I feel like I saw that recently on no, I'm just saying Nope, Us, Jordan Peele movies, just relating quickly. Us was on, it just released on something. We just turned on Max.
No, Netflix has Get Out maybe? And
I don't know. It just came on some streaming service and we had it on. I was like, I haven't watched Us in so long. I was
highly underrated movie.
I know. I was like, we should really watch Us again.
To close the loop here real quick, do you guys think there will be a better horror series for you guys in 2023 than Fall of the House of Usher? Or is this is reigning supreme?
It was a really good.
See, I think it's better than Yellow Jackets. It's better than
way better than Yellow Jackets this year. Not even close.
It was
not even close.
I liked the style that they did it in, and it used to be a very common way of doing shows. Is it was like this: you had a story, it ended, and then you could move on to the next one. And they don't do it anymore. And Hollywood needs to get back to that. Like Flanagan showed that there's a way to make 8 episodes of television. Each individual episode is not filler. None of it's filler. It's just all intricate, well done, and keeps you involved. Whereas like shows now, it's like you get like the first episode's a fucking banger. Right. And then there's 6 episodes of filler. And then the final episode's great.
Yeah.
Like I don't want that. I want bang, 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 bang.
It's almost like a shorter version of Black Mirror.
It's an anthology,
right?
Essentially.
Yeah, it really is. But I mean,
it's like Tales of the Crypt.
And honestly, it was an anthology disguised as a season-long story.
Yeah.
There were elements that tied each episode into other episodes.
But they were their own individual episodes.
So I feel like the through line of the entire series was Roderick, his twin sister, and the Carla Gugino character. Obviously, I guess we're going to spoil this now for Fall.
Well, aside from
we have been,
the first episode and the last episode tied it all together. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, each episode was designated to each individual member of the family and their downfall. And it was
perfect. Yeah, it was.
What did you think of the Carla Gugino character?
I thought she was perfect, like as if she was.
Which do we even know what her name is?
Who are you talking about?
She was the devil. She's the Raven.
She was the devil. She was the.
Oh well, the Raven
is the devil.
Yeah,
she just
the Raven
stepped in and she tempted people to do what they wanted.
But she is essentially the Raven.
She
from
represents
Poe's
death,
Yes.
like pretty much.
Because she turns into the Raven on a couple different occasions, and it's like okay, so that's where that particular poem comes into play.
Well,
but yeah, I thought she was like I would not be surprised if she got nominated for like an Emmy or a Golden Globe for that.
She was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
shocked.
same with Roderick's character.
Dude, she played about 15
I didn't
different
think she was that
characters.
great, though.
Oh, she was fantastic.
Are you serious? She was fantastic.
She was good.
Fantastic.
She was fine. I don't think she.
I
should
thought
be
the
nominated for a
detective was
award.
fantastic.
He was good.
Throughout Roderick's character, obviously, what's his face? Bruce.
Bruce Greenwood.
Bruce Greenwood was fantastic.
And then, so the guy who played Dupin, C. Auguste Dupin, the guy interviewing Roderick the entire time, he was the guy that played Dick Halloran in Dr. Sleep,
Okay.
which Flanagan also
Do you
directed.
know who was a great actor through this whole thing? Was that guy who was the with the glasses?
Mark Hamill.
Yes, my God,
Mark
Luke
Hamill,
Skywalker
massively underrated.
might have been the
He
best
was-
performance
He
of the
actually
whole
might
show.
have been
That's what I was saying.
the grim
I was like, I can't
the
even.
Grim Reaper. No, it
Arthur
was
Pym.
Grim,
Arthur
Pym.
Pym.
The
He
Pym
was-
Reaper.
Pym Reaper.
The Pym
He
Reaper,
took
yeah.
the whole show. I
He
feel
was
He was
absolutely
fantastic.
fantastic.
through the
He-
entire series. Every episode, you were like, "Where is he? What's he doing? Oh my God!" I didn't
One of
realize that
the-
was Luke Skywalker.
One of the coolest parts of the whole show for me, and I thought it was like, it just, I think this is obviously ripped somewhere from Poe's stories, but like when Roderick was talking about how he came to hire Arthur Pym and how he went on that like worldwide like trek
Yeah.
thing, and he went to the end of the world and saw whatever he said he saw, like that description of what he said he saw, I was like, you need to make a show about that. You need to make a show about Arthur Pym on what he did.
Oh, when he saw
on
it
that
like
transatlantic
on the
go-
hollow in the Hollow
The
Earth.
Hollow Earth stuff.
Yeah.
What do you, why do you think they're not? They're totally setting that all up. That is
No, they're not.
absolutely.
No, that's
You
just
don't think so?
backstory. That's
You don't think
backstory.
No
so?
way. It's all backstory stuff. No way.
We're never going
Oh.
to talk about
No,
Hollow Earth.
no way. No way.
Why not?
I mean, we should.
Because it'd be too cool. And
Admiral
too awesome.
Byrd could show up and do a bunch of stuff.
So they're not going to make a sequel to this because
No need.
They
No need,
shouldn't.
because
Mike-
They should never.
Mike Flanagan is hopping from Netflix to Amazon, and apparently his next project is a adaptation of The Dark Tower for Stephen King on
And
Amazon.
I can't wait.
I was going to say, excited.
Oh, beyond excited.
I've read the first Dark Tower book. I know
The
Matt's wife is very much into that. Sarah loves Dark Tower stuff. According to him.
If you're going to start watching Amazon shows, there's one in particular called
Is
Fortitude.
it Fortitude? Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Mike, you have to watch this show.
Honestly, Amazon Prime, I barely watch anything on Amazon Prime. I think their shows suck, except
Dude.
for Outer Range.
Fortitude
Outer Range
is
was
a
dope.
thing, and you need to watch it.
All right, fair enough.
So just watch it. I'll tell you again.
Is there anything else that you guys want to touch on for Fall of the House of Usher?
Mm-mm.
Watch it. Well,
Watch
if you
it, it's
didn't,
good,
but
obviously.
you already did because
Yeah.
we spoiled the entire show. So I hope that everyone liked
Spoil
what we
shit.
were
Well, if
talking
people
about.
listen, if people have
Oh, we
seen it,
spoiled
they
everything.
listen.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
sorry.
It's okay.
It's
We just talked about it. It's fine. a little short on the Fall of the House show.
I mean, while we're going, Andrew, you want to talk about anything else? You want to talk about Hell House
We can
LLC
talk about that. I thought it was
Origins?
a very underrated found footage horror movie that I haven't seen any of the other ones, but this one was like a prequel to the other one, so that
Mhm.
was cool. It was very well done. Interesting concept of the story. Kind of reminded me of like the Murdoch murders, like the guy that like killed his family, and they go stay at this house, and you think that that guy actually killed the family, but
All found
he
footage, by
didn't.
the way, which
All
is
found footage.
different
and
element.
It gets
Yep.
very culty, kind of weird at the end, and like the last 30 minutes of this movie is generally pretty fucking scary. It's very scary. The clowns are fucking scary.
so.
The cult aspect is scary. I thought it was very well done. I was
Hot
very
take.
happy.
This is the scariest movie that I've watched this year.
Scariest movie.
The actual, like, not the best horror movie. The scariest movie that I've watched this year was Hell House LLC Origins.
So you thought it was scary then when,
Carmichael
when
Manor.
Evil Lurks?
Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't really scary.
No,
That
it was just dread
fucking
in
wild.
one particular scene.
Yeah.
And it was a very good plot, but it didn't like viscerally scare me.
No, I would be horrified if I was staying at that house, the Carmichael house, and then going. I mean, like we're leaving, and then my car is not starting, and then I'm walking through the woods, and then
Yeah,
there's fucking
that's a
banshees.
really scary movie. That's a
Yeah.
really scary movie because I don't like clowns.
I hate clowns.
It's a very
Oh, I'm just
no,
in the
it's
basement one night.
you
like,
should
for
just watch it.
guys.
And then there's Andrew said the cult stuff, which that's kind of a spoiler, but it's okay. Like just I'm a found footage nerd. I love that genre, subgenre of horror. And I know a lot of people don't. It's one of my favorites. And I honestly, I think I find more found footage, like documentary style type of horror movies to be scarier than any other type of movie.
Right,
if done well.
Yes. Like, what was, did we talk about that movie?
Like those movies, typically, if they're done well, scare the shit out of me.
Butterfly Effect?
No, Butterfly Kisses. Did we ever kisses?
What's Butterfly Kisses?
I think there was a movie that I don't know if we talked about that. It was like this.
I don't think we did.
It was like a found footage documentary style where they are trying to capture this entity at the end of like a train, tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you catch it on camera, every time you have your camera out again, it's getting closer and closer and closer to you till it eventually kills you.
Okay.
Butterfly Kisses, you need to check that one out. I think we talked.
I will. I'll add it to my watch list for sure.
That was very well done.
But again, I would say this movie, not the type of movie that you need to see all the sequels to appreciate it. I feel like this was almost.
It was also a prequel.
It was also a prequel, but it's also kind of a standalone movie as well. But I honestly think the first HOUSE LLC movie is about one of the most slept on movies in recent memory. Probably one of the more scary found footage horror movies of the last 10 years. And if you haven't seen that one, Andrew, you should, like, now you got to watch.
Oh, I want to watch the other ones because I've actually seen like parts of the other ones, like where the clowns, like where the girls like
the clowns are in all of them.
Yeah,
they're in all of them.
Well, that's why it is the origin story, because that's like where they originated, was that weird.
But the premise
Abaddon
the premise for the first one is that there's like a group of like 4 or 5 entrepreneurs that buy a hotel that's abandoned.
And that's the Abaddon.
And they want to turn it into a haunted attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So they're there by themselves in the middle of nowhere, setting this place up for a haunted house. And as they're setting it up, all this weird shit starts to happen. So, as I'm sure you can tell, this is a Mike type movie, and it's all found footage.
100%.
Yeah, it's fucking really, really creepy, really scary, really good. So that's HOUSE LLC, the original one, but HOUSE LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor, which is a terrible title. Also very, very good. Andrew, anything else?
No, that was it. I watched The Stranger, which was on Netflix. Not a horror movie. The Stranger. Shaun Harris was in it, and Joel Edgerton.
Strangers.
It was a very good like crime drama movie, very slow burn kind of movie, and it was. I highly recommend this movie. It's not a horror movie. It's just very well done and well acted. Great dialogue. I think it's an Australian film. It's fantastic.
Speaking of Netflix stuff, by the way, simply cannot wait for the new David Fincher movie to come to Netflix.
Oh, The Killer?
Very soon.
This week, right?
Coming very soon with our boy Fassbender.
Simply stunning.
Simply stunning. Okay. So in addition to, I was going to say, I have a book recommendation I can go through
A
real
book?
quick. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like
read it.
with the pages?
Audiobook recommendation.
Okay.
This book is called Mr. Magic. You guys would both appreciate this story. I think it's safe to assume that you guys will probably see it as a TV series or a movie sometime within the next few years.
Sure.
Because the premise of this story, I feel like, is too good for Hollywood to not hop on it. The premise is that there is a group of 6 now adults in their 30s that starred in a children's show back in the 90s, very much akin to like Candle Cove.
Oh, okay.
And or a weird show like Barney or some sort of Nickelodeon show where they were all children on this show, and there was a central character called Mr. Magic that was like a puppet, weird, like
Barney,
scary, creepy type dude. And the main character, basically, she doesn't remember any of her time on the show because she was the youngest member of the show. She was like 6 years old.
Oh my God.
And there's a podcast that's doing a reunion of the show, and all of her fellow co-stars come to find her, bring her onto the podcast. She doesn't remember anything about her experience of being on the show.
Oh yeah.
And
so how many years
it's almost kind of like
this?
it's like they put the character of the show almost as like a Pennywise type figure.
This is like I was gonna say
it's interesting.
Like
it's very interesting.
How many years later after she has done
20?
So apparently when she was on the show, I'm
6.
like
and now what? Fast forward to what year?
I'm about halfway through it. She in the story, she's 38.
So 32
So
years.
And she
32
was
years.
8 years old when she was on the
30
show.
years later.
Okay, so 30
Yeah.
years later, and they're just interviewing her about the show for the first time.
Well, she apparently
now?
she was taken away by her dad after the show. There was a catastrophic accident on the set of the show, which is where the show was quote unquote canceled. But it's also one of those things where it's almost kind of like the Berenstain Bears, where there's nothing, there's no video of this show on YouTube. So it's like, did it exist? Did it not exist? Like that type of thing.
Wait,
so
her dad took her away and she's 38.
her dad took her away somewhere to
Like,
a
this isn't really
Hold on.
adding up. This whole story.
I don't think you're
I'm
listening.
just saying.
You're not listening. Her dad took her to this remote ranch when she was 8 years old after she was taken off of the show, where she has then lived for over 20 years.
And she had no idea until yesterday.
Yeah,
that
because
she
she's
was
like Hannah
on-
Montana. She's like, I didn't know.
So basically, the first chapter of the
was
book,
not
the first chapter of the book, some of her fellow co-stars from when they were children come to the ranch because her dad dies and there's a wake there.
And this is a real story.
This
No,
is not
it's
a
not
real,
a real story.
What are we?
It's a fucking book.
No, it's a book.
a
It's fictional. It's
book.
fictional. It's fictional.
No one says this. It's like
So basically-
I'm very confused.
These
Yeah, 'cause
people
you don't listen.
This
These
is
people
way-
show up that were on the show and they recognize her. She doesn't recognize them. She has no recollection of being on this show because
Okay,
she was
yes,
under
you
8
told
years
me,
old.
Yes. Yep.
Well, you didn't understand.
So they're taking her
So
to
30 years later, she's reunited with these people.
they're taking her
and it's
to
like,
a studio in the middle of the desert to go record a podcast because somebody's doing a podcast
Sure.
reunion for the show. And on the way, they start to get revisited by Mr. Magic, who was this character that used to be their Barney,
Their guy.
their whoever
Their
on their
Barney.
show.
Yeah.
Lamb chop. Their
Lamb chop, their lamb chop, their Arthur, their whoever, anything like that.
Cool.
Which in the description of the
So what
character
does
is
he look
very,
like?
very creepy.
Yeah, I was like, what's the description?
Sounds like an interesting story.
So the description that they give is not very detailed, but essentially what they do, the 6 kids gather in a circle and they join hands and they take a cape and they throw it up in the air. And when the cape comes down and starts to like flutter around, Mr. Magic starts to appear as the cape flutters down to
Sounds
the
like a
ground.
bunch of fucking freaks are
And
hanging
he's
out.
like a giant Muppet type character, almost type of thing. So that's probably pretty fucking
Okay,
freaky.
well, I want to know more details in the future.
Well,
about
we
what he looks
certainly
like.
can.
You
But
can
again,
read the
that book's
book.
called, or this audiobook that I'm listening to is called Mr. Magic. And I would not be surprised if in a year and a half, 2 years, there's a movie out called Mr. Magic or a TV show. Seems like it's ripe for, because honestly, it reminds
Do you
me a
think
lot
that a
of,
Cinemax
I
is
know
gonna-
that all of us
or
particularly
back?
love Channel Zero, especially season 1, Candle Cove, because that season rocked.
Dude, we all like.
It reminds me a lot of like that
We all
season.
like pasta fucking spaghetti.
Creepypastas.
Creepypasta spaghetti.
Pasta spaghetti, yes.
Pasta
yes,
spaghetti.
yes.
That's what it is. Yeah.
All right. Last thing I'll say before we sign off. Kat and I on Halloween watched Scream.
We did. It
'Cause,
was great.
I still haven't seen it.
Because you know what?
Ever? Scream?
Oh, then
The
I
first
shouldn't have
one?
been-
No, I was like,
the
we
original.
talked
The OG,
about
the OG.
The OG.
Oh.
the
Yeah,
first
because we
Scream.
had to see Leonora in there and just be like, and finally, like I watched that scene and I was like, oh, it's
It was
so
Halloween,
funny.
and
Yeah.
I was like, let's turn on Scream.
Yeah.
I just turned it on, and that was it. There wasn't like, let's go through all of these things, blah, blah, blah.
No, we're
blah.
all aware. Yeah.
I know. But I mean,
Kat did say, let's go through all these things.
I normally would say, let's go through these things and like go through all of, everyone does that. Like you go through, you're like, what do we want to watch? You go through every streaming service.
I'll tell you, it don't
every
end up on
streaming thing.
Scream though, so there's that.
No, Scream was actually on TV that night, and then I ended up turning
So you watched it on TV, like
no,
on free.
No,
I
Kat.
started
Okay,
it,
so
and
hold
then
on,
I-
wait.
and
To
then I put it on.
to
Yes.
be fair,
To be fair.
Kat did put it on TNT, and we were sitting down watching it, and I was like, it was a commercial. And I
If
was
we're gonna
like,
watch
dude, I was
this-
like, it's on HBO Max. Can we just put the real movie
No
on? And she was like,
commercials.
yes, let's go.
Because you know what else?
So it's fast forward to
I
that part.
just
and we're-
scroll through YouTube TV, what's actually live. It's kind of nice because then like someone else can choose
Nobody
something
does
for me.
that.
Like one day I'm like, you know what? I really love SVU. I never turn it on. Let me watch this really quick. Like it's just a nice little, there's no algorithm. It's just what what's on TV, which I appreciate. Like,
That's because you're 1,000 years old.
No,
and
it's just random things.
That's what old people like. They don't want to be told. They want to be told what to watch. You're 1,000 years old.
I don't need my Netflix
because you can't
algorithm.
You can't pick what you want to watch.
No, I can't. So
you have to be 1,000 years old and let the TV pick for you.
I literally go to YouTube TV to the guy,
like, I am willing to watch commercials.
I'm like, what's on?
If I don't have to decide what to watch.
Well, no, then I just randomly pick, but it's a different bag because it doesn't have any of my algorithms in it. Like regular TV doesn't know what I want to watch.
Stop saying algorithms.
Why?
What are you even talking about?
Meaning, if you watch certain things on Netflix, they're going to then calculate what you watch and then show you other things that you might be interested in.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's an algorithm.
And why wouldn't I want that?
Exactly. That's what an algorithm is.
No, I know, but why wouldn't I want that?
No, you do want that.
So why do you enjoy not?
It's not a bad thing. I'm saying that I like randomness.
No, you don't like deciding what to watch.
I love in the morning listening to the radio. I don't want to listen to Spotify. I don't want to listen to pre-made, whatever. I want to literally tune into FM stations and listen to random things. I like to go and see what's on TV live.
Because you're a basic
I want to live like how I live with things that are going on at that point in time. Like I don't need to be like streaming all of my own stuff all the time. That's just I don't need to do that. I know. Sure. This is all great conversation.
I don't know what we're talking about anymore. All I know is I heard was I'm 1,000 years old.
You are.
And I like to be told what to watch by TNT.
I like TV guides and structure.
I want to watch
TV
SVU.
Guides?
She's like, I don't want to
I love SVU. Who doesn't like SVU?
It's fine. It's a good show.
I mean, it is a good show. It is a good show.
Let's move on.
And we're done.
Let's go on with the glorified. We should probably put a bow on this bitch by this. I mean,
two things real quick. I did also watch season 4 of Creepshow on Shudder. And I feel like this is one of the most disappointing shows for me recently.
Dude, that show's terrible.
It was never terrible. It has gotten progressively worse and worse. And the only thing worthwhile are the practical effects for the monsters that they use. But the vibe is very much like Tales of the Crypt, but it's just like, ugh.
I mean, you guys have been talking about Creepshow, the newer ones, and I'm like, this is fucking bad.
The acting is, and the writing is, I mean, I get it's supposed to be like a 50s EC Comics type thing, but like,
but see, the
writing and the characters are so bad.
The problem with that is they're like, they think that they can just do whatever they want, and it's 50. Oh, well, we can just make this trap. No, it requires some effort.
Yeah, I agree. Last thing is a new movie, which you can stream exclusively on Screambox, which is Bloody Disgusting's curated horror channel, which you can get on Prime Video. It's called HEBGB TV.
Oh, I heard about that. Good?
Yeah, so it was okay. This is very much a Mike movie. I will preface with that. It's
how many worms?
So it's very Halloween themed, and it's basically
it's the heebie-jeebies.
Andrew, you know how you always comment on how the fact I like old school, like 90s and late 80s, like commercials, like with like spooky stuff and all that stuff. Like,
like
this feels like you put a tape into your VCR in 1992 during Halloween season, and it was just demented stuff. Like there's some stop motion animation in here. There's some puppetry in here. It's very
sounds
cool.
interesting.
Puppetry.
There's so it's like an anthology. It's very much in the vein of like the WNUF Halloween special.
Yeah.
Almost kind of mixed with like, I don't really like Rick and Morty, but I've heard it described as like a Rick and Morty type thing where it's just everything. It just like cuts from channel to channel and it's just more and more bizarre stuff. So I understand it. But it's not, Rick and Morty is my favorite thing. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, it's interesting. Not my favorite thing in the world, but it's fine. It's cool. It's like A for effort. It's funny. It's like doesn't take itself too seriously. If you have Screambox, you should absolutely check it out.
I have Screambox.
Yeah, you should watch it.
I like them for like their older catalog. They have a lot of good, weird old movies on there.
Okay. So, HEBGB TV. Say that 5 times fast. By the by.
HEBGB TV. HEBGB TV. HEBGB TV.
HEBGB STD.
I think he's got 5 times. Yeah.
Did I do that?
I think so. It was at least 4 that I counted. And then Andrew made me laugh, and I lost count of how many times.
HEBGB TV. I kind of got that. Really.
So I think that's what I got. I think this was, again, a pretty eventful October.
Oh, yeah.
And,
It was a very busy October.
Yeah.
September through October, I mean, it was very fun, but it was very busy. Like, I'm actually, on the contrary to most years, I'm kind of looking forward to a few weeks of silence and nothing, and then the holidays just to celebrate a few little things here and there, and just some quietness for the winter. I feel like the fall was so busy that I'm ready to hibernate. Like,
there you go. Yeah, exactly, right?
I'm ready for the hibernation.
Well, you got to get
season.
ready to fire up the movies. You got to watch a bunch of 2023 movies.
Oh, I'm
now.
ready to be
We got
festive
the
as
end of-
fuck.
No, we got
Like,
the
I
end of the year
mean,
coming up. No, you got to start watching all the horror movies from this year.
Speaking of which, safe to say our most anticipated movie of this month for the podcast is Thanksgiving.
oh yeah, yes.
Oh, I could care less about that movie.
It's the first
stop it.
Plymouth set horror movie ever.
It's
so
not
we're gonna-
in Plymouth.
When
though.
is
I
it
know.
coming?
If it's not filmed in Plymouth, I don't
it
give a
wasn't
fuck.
until next year.
It's gonna be some
Nope.
bush league.
It
It's
is,
this year?
It's out a week from tomorrow.
No
so
way.
Today is November 7th. It is out on November 15th.
We get
So-
to find the babysitter.
Yeah, I've actually might have already worked on that.
Oh.
So
I
anyway,
can't wait to be disappointed by that movie.
well, you can walk downtown
You like
Main
Ross
Street and be like,
sucks.
"Oh my God, we're gonna get killed."
Yeah, then we'll be like, this isn't even Plymouth. This movie wasn't
Oh my
even
god,
filmed
it
in
was
Plymouth.
filmed in California.
I think I saw in the trailer there was like an overhead shot, like a drone shot of Plymouth. But anyway,
Cool.
No, that's
Sure.
difficult.
I digress. Okay, so this has been another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate you guys listening to all of our banter, and it was fun to have you guys at the live show. Fun to have you back here if you're here with us again. My name's Mike. I've been joined by Andrew, Kat, and Matt. Matt had to cut out a little bit early, so I'm just joined by Andrew and Kat now. Lady, gentleman, can you say good evening? Oh, and the spooky hound dog is here.
Good
too.
evening.
He has
Yes.
not been heard from in
Good
quite a while.
evening.
Mr. Otis, you want to say
Bark,
anything to
bark,
the
bark.
listeners?
No, please not. Please
Bark,
don't.
bark, bark.
No, he's gonna pass.
But
Okay.
good evening.
Good evening and
Woo!
happy Thanksgiving.
Avírate.
Bye. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and I want to say thanks again for listening to another episode of our show. If you're interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I'd highly recommend you check out the shows from our friends over on the Inebriart Podcast Network. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find shows from Inebriart, the Old Colony Cast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, and Retro Redoctopus, so head on over and give them a listen.